A woman in Australia is making over $500 a month renting the other side of her bed out to complete strangers.
Hey, I told you not to bring that up, okay?
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's a bit of a sensitive subject for me still.
Yeah, I forgot that you had a little stint where you were trying to rent the other side of your bed.
Not a single reservation, okay? Are you happy? Sure, I got some comments, like, why does your shirt say free mustache rise, or why does the ad say no fat chicks? It's a double bed, okay? That's a reasonable request when you're only charging $5 a month.
Hey, dude, if you need money...
Look, it's not about the money, okay? It's about exposing the sexism in the renting a side of your bed out to strangers industry.
Right.
What, because I'm a man, my bed is no good here? What, my linens are less than because of my gender? I wash my sheets!
Dude, I didn't know it was that serious.
And those stains did not come out easy, okay? But go on, read your little article about how I'm banned from an entire genre of slightly sexualized side hustles.
Okay, well, you're not banned.
Oh, I'm banned! The moderators took my post down just because my advertisement photo was me giving a thumbs up next to a Sibian that's beside my bed. Oh, sorry for being hospitable.
Hey, no, serious. Do you want to turn the cameras off and talk about this?
What, not with you? No, I started going to a support group for men who are enduring sexism in the bed rental industry. So far, it's me, a guy who sells his socks, and a guy who sells his farts. And guess what? We're all broke.
Yeah, I mean, I am looking at your ad here, and maybe you shouldn't have made your name Erect Little Bedwetter.
Everything else was taken, okay?
The boys.
It's the BOYSCAST.
The lads.
It's the BOYSCAST.
The dudes.
Prepare yourself for BOYSCAST.
The bros.
It's the BOYSCAST.
The homies.
It's the BOYSCAST.
The dudes.
Experience the BOYSCAST.
The boys cast.
The BOYSCAST is in the building. You already know what it is.
What is it?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what it was this weekend. The sold out show,
Yeah.
New York. It was
Sick.
super fun.
Fuck yeah.
So thanks to everyone who came out. We had the whole squad there.
Squadzilla.
And officially, the tickets are up right now at RyanLongComedy.com for the Across the Pond tour, which is London, Antwerp, Amsterdam, Copenhagen, Oslo, Stockholm. I said that all those places sound like chocolate companies. Do you think that, one thing I'll say is I was kind of looking at the British stuff. The UK, they are out of control with all their stuff. It said 9 people got arrested today, a day for like offensive tweets and stuff
Really?
like that.
Oh, I didn't know
Dude,
that.
they're putting people, and it's all, 90% of it is like, they come in and it's like, oh, it was my grandmother tweeted the wrong pronouns. And there's like, they put her in a full Nelson on the ground.
Lock her up.
Yeah, there's-
Lock up your nan.
yeah. And then also, you all know we got Tacoma coming up next weekend, or 2 weekends from now. Vancouver, Kansas City, Omaha, Edmonton, Los Angeles, Irvine, San Jose, Phoenix, Toronto, which is close to sold out, Perrysburg, Columbus, Liberty, Dallas, Baltimore, Winnipeg, San Diego. And while we're talking about things that are happening in other ponds, Sean Penn.
Sean Pond.
Actually, Kurt sent me this, but I guess it became a pretty big thing. But Sean Penn's always on these bizarre press tours, right? And his whole thing now is he's saying that after the Will Smith slap, he wanted to take his Oscar and turn it into bullets to
Yeah.
give it to Zelensky so they could use the bullet as a gun, right? But the problem is...
Usually, I melt them down to
Well,
shoot
the problem is he already gave his Oscar to Zelensky. So it's like all of his...
He has two.
I know, but...
Also, is that the right type of metal? I feel like they're probably plastic on the inside.
I can't imagine it'd be a good... Although I will say, because I think his main movie that he won the Oscar for was when he played Harvey Milk.
Oh, and that's back in the days when they probably did use like solid alloys?
No, I'm just saying it's a gay guy, so it would get hurt more if you were a Russian. They just like, yeah, just so you know, you got killed from the Oscar from the gay movie.
by gay bullet.
you got killed. We took him.
Not the gay bullet.
That's what I was saying. If you knew that bullet was made from the Oscar from a gay man.
Yeah. I think, but some people, because like, you know, American cinema is so famous all over the world, like there'd be an element you go, this is so cool.
Oh, it is
America #1 country for film.
This is such honor for me. Yeah, exactly.
Because that was his whole argument was that, I remember they wanted Zelensky at the Oscars last year.
No, that's what he was not happy
Yeah, that's
about.
what he said happened. He goes, if Zelensky was there, he's like,
None of this
the
would have
slap
happened.
would have never happened because Will Smith would never dare to slap Chris Rock's face with Zelensky in the audience.
Well, it is possibly true that like everyone would just be bowing down to him, getting ready to give him a head. So, like Will Smith would have came up there and he would have, slapped his own head into Zelensky's dick.
He just would have like, I can't take away his thunder. This is important.
I like the idea of Sean Penn having to go to Zelensky and he's like, I'm gonna need that Oscar back, and he's like, I have this bullet idea that's way better though.
He goes, we need bullet.
So the big thing that everyone's been saying on TikTok, right, is that the bizarre theory, and this is a million articles, but a bizarre theory emerges and claims that men think about the Roman Empire 3 to 5 times a week, right?
Yeah, obviously, like, everybody saw this so many times, and I, like, literally just refused to click on it until...
Fine, but I was thinking when this came...
About the Roman Empire.
No, you're the guy, because you always say, you're just like, man, if we lived in those times, it wasn't even gay. Like you've been...
Dude, mouth is a mouth.
You've been saying, the final days of the Romans, you always talking about the fountains, the baths. Like you could go to...
I was at Pompeii last
Augustine's Island. Augustine's Island.
Augustine's Island.
they had their guy at the time. Well, you've always been saying that.
Pompeii has literally like these like not mummified, but they're, the thing exploded and then these two dudes are just blowing each other and they're just locked like that for all of time.
That's why I always go, what are you thinking about? You go, just being Roman. Which part? Just kind of the stuff that Romans do.
No age of consent.
I'm thinking about some Roman shit, dude. Gladiators? I guess you could say that. There's some wrestling going on.
Some wrestling.
Well, but I guess the thing is, it does come up a lot because everyone sort of, talks about how it's the similarities and blah, 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 right? So it comes up a lot. I don't really sit there being like, yeah, fucking then I'll give you one of these and I'll give...
Well, I tried to watch that show Rome and then, I don't know. I heard some people say it was good and then I think it's on HBO and I couldn't get into it.
I'm more of a Sublime with Rome guy,
yeah.
But no, the thing is Romans obviously was sick, but it's kind of like this era where, because when I was kind of looking up Roman stuff, there's 50 articles, about the gay shit really kind of saying how gay they were, right?
Yeah,
but it's kind of unfair because really what happened is like what people always talk about is near the end of the thing, it started to get a little fruity.
Yeah, that's
right?
what happened.
So then
the end of empires.
So these like Huffington Post people kind of go back in time and they go like, it was so sick, everyone's gay. And you're just like, no, that was like a sliver of, it's like right now they wrote, if in like 100 years they're writing about like the American Empire and they're like, you could go on a subway and see a man dressed as a woman at any given time.
Of course.
And you're like, well, yeah.
Well, we're in the soft times cycle.
That's what I'm saying though, right?
We're in that part of it where everybody's gay and
dude, if you were like a Roman that was in like most of the time, you'd probably come back and be like, yo, it wasn't as gay as you guys think.
Because we were like fucking chicks like all the time. Like that's all we did was just smash sniz and fight each other with swords and like ride lions and stuff. And this is like misrepresenting what was going on back then.
Well, there's an article right now. Again, there was a bunch of them, but like there was a Vice one, there was a BuzzFeed, Huffington Post, and all of it was just like every dude's going to gay prostitute. They're pushing it like it was this gay hate.
You know what I don't get about this Roman thing, and maybe you have some insight into this, because a bunch of it came from...
No, I don't.
These women, these like journalists who were like, yeah, I messaged my husband being like, how often do you think of the Roman Empire? And like all the husbands were like kind of in on the joke because they were all like, yeah, 5 times a day. Like all these journalists were like, I asked my husband, and they're like, yeah, I think about it every day. And they're like, what? And then
you saying there was like a little bit of irony involved even in the answers.
Well, but there was like a coordination with the guys because they all kept answering like, yeah, all the time.
Right.
Whereas like if my girl asked me that, I'd be like, I don't know, not really.
Some maybe here and there. I mean, I said it comes up a lot.
It comes up on a podcast or something. I'm listening to a history podcast maybe.
It does. No, it just does seem to come up a lot. So every time, and the fact that the correlations between the Roman Empire, I do think that there's the two parts of it. There's that, and then everyone just thinks like the gladiators were sick and shit like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Which they were. But I'm telling you, they go, before then, guys fucked other guys frequently. This is what I'm telling you. These are the kind of propaganda that's in these articles. It would be the equivalent if they wrote about New York in the future and they were like, there was dudes going to glory holes and you couldn't tell the difference between a guy and a girl, and you're just like,
nobody cared. Yeah, everybody was just all happy. That wasn't like
the normal vibe of the whole thing, right? Wasn't uncommon to see a naked man walking around the subway, and you're like, technically true,
sure,
but it is like not. Most people did think it was weird that a guy's walking around naked on the subway.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They go, sodomy wasn't criminalized. Terms like gay didn't exist and masculinity was glorified. So it was perfectly normal for bros to just lust after each other like bros. I'm telling you,
was this BuzzFeed?
If the Roman Empire came back and they saw the smut that was getting written about their empire, I can't imagine these guys would be happy.
They'd be getting the swords out. And
they go, no, me and my bros were just sucking each other off.
Yeah, we were doing all sorts of stuff. We were pressing olives.
Yeah, that was
making olive oil.
And then some of them they go, and like sometimes they'll kind of do the thing where they go, the soldiers were gay or whatever, right? But you're like, that to me probably more the equivalent of like jail getting gay.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You're like,
There's,
oh,
no
they were
chicks
you
around
were gone
and-
for 4 years without a chick in sight, and it was like you had two options. You either like have sex with the other guy's girls against their will. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, for sure. You rape and pillage.
Yeah, or you and the bros make a pact, like jail basically.
Yeah, yeah. Either way, though, this is propaganda.
And they're going, it was written into law that if you were getting the male prostitutes, that you had to be a top. You couldn't be a bottom with the male prostitutes.
There was a law.
That's what I'm down. They whatever book they found like the.
I mean, that's possible. There was a law.
No, but they found like, I don't know, what's that gender queer, what are those
that's just
books
like
they're called that they're
it's
trying
like
to
it
get?
ain't gay if you're a top law.
They found gender queer of the
That was
time.
like the most cope law of
They're
all
trying
time.
to
Look, not gay if you're a top, and we're gonna put it in the law. It says right here in the law that if you're a top and you fuck a dude, that's not gay. That's the law.
That's their
that.
don't say gay bill.
But that's like literally the law says that. They're like,
know.
well, who? I'm not above the law. Are you above the law?
Yeah. If the prosty's like, I'll do you now, and you go, not so fast, pal.
It's illegal and gay.
Books about ancient Rome have salacious stories about orgies and polyamorous emperors. I was like, yeah, I do get that polyamorous emperors were banging people. It's like, and then I think there was a few dudes that maybe slipped in there, the way that they slipped into David Bowie as well. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
Even married a male slave, so one of the guys. And I get that this was probably the later years, though. You know what I mean? I think that they were much less gay,
Much less
probably for
gay.
the majority of the times.
Yeah, I don't know my history that well.
These articles are aggressive too. They go, in those times, two men could fuck in peace.
This is BuzzFeed.
And they would leave behind crude drawings of their prostitutes' dicks afterwards. So now it's like, oh, this is like the regular thing. It's like you found a drawing of a dick, and you're
Yeah.
like, my blogger senses are going off. I think what happened is two men were having sex, and it's a customary for their
And
traditions
like,
to
yeah,
draw the
and
dick of that you just rode.
Just an 8-year-old.
Sure, yeah.
An adolescent boy at the time, just snickering, drawing a dick on the cave wall.
So anyways, a lot of propaganda going on. And
Yeah,
it kind
I'm
of
not buying
reminded
it.
me of the thing that I've always been saying about action star stuff, because I saw the Equalizer, which, by the way, I'm going to give Ryan Long gives 5 boys out of 5. That's not a
I
good
still
rating
haven't
system.
seen fucking Oppenheimer.
Yeah, I know. You don't like to see things, but...
I do like to see them. I just haven't.
Okay, well, whatever. I guess if you want to send money to the Danny Goes to See Oppenheimer Fund, it wasn't the biggest recommendation.
No.
Equalizer, on the other hand,
Solid.
it's the best movie in the world.
That's the Denzel one, right?
But the reason I'm saying this goes to the Roman things is like, you can't. Yes, I know The Rock is big box office. I know Jason Momoa is a big box office draw, and probably not even as much as they try to pretend he is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those guys don't have the action star riz.
Right.
Denzel has the riz. Even
He still got it?
it's kind of like comedians a little bit, where they have to. It's like it's hard to be so phony nowadays. It's like The Rock is a fucking corporate entity.
Yeah.
You know this guy's a Hollywood phony. You know what I mean? You just know he's not a badass. You know he's just oh, come on. That might hurt my image. He chooses his friends on who would get him in trouble.
Absolutely.
Yeah, guess who doesn't do that? The Equalizer. Well, so you know this guy's a phony, right? Whereas Denzel, he's fucking 200 years old.
I don't think I've ever seen one of the Equalizers. Which one was this for?
It is a it really, really, you know how Liam
Wait, what's it about?
Denzel equalizes stuff.
You know, he
I mean, this is the best way to describe it.
Equalizes
If you
things?
have 40 guys and it's just versus him, it's still equal.
okay.
He equalizes the fight out, right? So most of his fights are him taking down like 85 guys, and it's his special like gimmick is that he puts a stopwatch out, because it's basically he has like 25 guys, and he puts his stopwatch and it counts down from 8 or something like that, and he kills them all in the 8 seconds.
Oh, nice.
And he doesn't break a sweat either, and he's always very calm about it.
Very
They cut
Seagal,
to-
very Seagal.
yeah,
of him.
they cut to
Black
him, and he's like
Seagal.
wiping stuff off with his handkerchief and stuff like that. So he's the goat,
Yeah,
right?
Okay. like
So
it.
other action stars can't fake the riz. Denzel, if you watch him in interviews, not a pussy, and it shows in the movies.
Yeah.
So he's the real deal. He's the real stuff. Couldn't.
All right.
I'd watch it again. And you are right though that it's when the first one of these came out. You know, Liam Neeson makes 45 movies and they're all the same.
Yeah.
This sort of had that vibe a little bit where it seemed like it was going to be a one and done nothing.
Yeah.
And the name wasn't great.
Yeah.
And then it's turned into its own little John Wick franchise.
Yeah, it's like its own little franchise for sure.
Uh-huh.
Interesting. All right.
Incredible. There's some parts that don't make sense where
That's fine.
they all have guns and they come in and they just don't shoot him for some reason and he equalizes everybody. But
Yeah, it's literally wrestling. It's like all those movies are always like the same with wrestling when you're watching wrestling and you're just like, why don't you hit him? It's like he's not looking at you and you're holding a chair. Just hit him. You're just yelling, hit him, and then he turns around and
it doesn't bug you
kicks
as
in the
much
stomach.
about Denzel because he just does equalize people and you're fine with it.
I like Denzel.
But so we've been talking a bunch about Scientology on the podcast. It's kind of come up the last 3 times, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, I watched the Leah Remini documentary, right?
Okay,
And I
yeah.
think we were kind of talking about
we
it
were
this
talking
weekend,
about it,
right? But the funniest part about this documentary is Scientology is powerful. There's only 40,000 people in the religion. 7,000 of the people in Scientology work full time for Scientology, right?
Yeah. Can anybody be a Scientologist?
I think you just sign up, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they get you in, and I've said this before, but they get you in Tony Robbins style. If you watch their pamphlets, it's like, hey, are you trying to make more money? Are you trying to get your shit together? Are you a drug addict? We're gonna fix it all, blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
It's
Good
very
pitch. Good pitch.
The pitch is, a self-help book.
Yeah.
And then you watch this doc, right? The thing, I've never watched a expose documentary that is so riddled with like disclaimers. And the disclaimers are so funny because it kind of does make it almost like works because so the whole deal is they're interviewing ex-Scientologists, right? And then they'll go, we're about to interview this guy. And it cuts to like 7-8 seconds, probably more like 17-18 seconds of like screens, and the screens go, this guy's a fucking clown. He tried to get back into Scientology, we didn't let him. One of them, it goes, he's rude and a psychopath, blah blah.
What do you mean he
It's
tried
like,
to get back in Scientology and we didn't let him? What perspective is...
you got banned for life, man. You don't want to you get on that list, you're
But
an
I'm
enemy
saying,
of the
who's
church.
putting up the disclaimer?
Well, Scientology, they reached out to Scientology for comment and they go, well,
gotcha. These are comments from the Church of Scientology.
but it's more than comments. It's like, if you want to get sued for everything you're fucking worth,
Right.
you're going to put this up there, right?
Yeah, don't they have all that stuff where they don't know where David Miscavige's wife is? Isn't that like the whole thing where like she's
I thought it was
like,
the main guy's wife.
Yeah,
Went
David
missing
Mi-
for a
yeah,
bit.
David
No,
Miscavige.
David Miscavige is like the Pope.
Yeah, I thought that. No, L. Ron Hubbard, you mean?
No, yeah, I was saying his wife
it's
kind of went
Miscavige.
missing too.
They
I
probably
thought.
all go missing. They're all probably just like, yep, and you go, you're out.
Well, the funny part about
Drop you in the top of a fucking volcano, bitch.
well, David Miscavige is hilarious, right?
Yeah.
So they paint him as like the most evil guy, but the girl that was, they'll show someone and they go, this guy's a liar. You don't believe a word he said. He's a fucking can of baloney. And then they cut to the guy being like, this David Miscavige guy's no good. But it's just so funny because the way that they have to do it, they just have to show you so many disclaimers because they're so afraid of these lawyers, right?
Yeah.
But when they cut to the guy, there's this, I think it was a guy talking about David Miscavige. No, it was a woman. And she goes, and that's when, I just watched so many things happen, and there was the lying and the punchings. She says the punchings because David Miscavige keeps kicking the shit out of people.
Oh, really?
So
He's a bit of an equalizer himself.
he's equalizing everybody.
Yeah, he's equalizing everybody.
So David Miscavige is the head pope, I guess.
Yeah.
But can you imagine? You heard like all the ex-bishops were like, yeah, the fucking pope kept fucking
Punching people?
decking me.
I had to fight the Pope again. Kicked my ass.
So like 4 of the guys, their story was that like David Miscavige kicked the shit out of them. And it was one guy was like the audio visual guy, like he does things, and he said he came in late at night and he's yelling at him, and then just fucking David Miscavige just starts.
and I guess you can't fight back because he's like.
No, this guy said he was about to fight back, and that was
But
one
he
of the
did.
reasons.
Yeah, you're sure you are. You're like, this time is the abused wife. He goes, next time he puts his fucking hands on me, you're gonna fucking stab him. Yeah, I bet.
So David Miscavige is just running around kicking the shit out of people, right? And the other thing, to be honest, the doc didn't hit as hard as I thought it would. I thought it was going to be like really hit Scientology hard.
Yeah.
It was more just showing people that worked there. It would be like more like a nun being like, "Hey, the priest was a shitty to me,"
Yeah.
and then the press that was like trying to expose the Catholic Church, like they were trying to smear that guy.
Gotcha.
Which it was still all crazy, but it just like. You're like every other religion, you're like exposing like mass pedophile rings. This one, there's like punchings.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? And then they're kind of like, if you work there and you try to leave, they kind of make you not talk to your family, and it's all like
Yeah,
pretty
that's
fucked
like
up.
that's
it's all
like
like
a lot of
culty.
cults do
But
that.
just in comparison to the exposés I've seen, I was expecting to be a little more blown away.
Oh, okay.
I kind of left being like,
And do you think
I
that they
guess
kept
that's
a lot
crazy.
back just because of the suings potential? Like, was there stuff you think that they, or that's just like what the story they wanted to tell was?
I don't know. Their worst stories was
I
the
mean, everybody's
punching,
saying that like his
the
wife
families. It's
disappeared.
tearing
Was the wife
families
disappearing
apart.
in it?
Well, they didn't really mention the wife disappearing.
Yeah.
I think they sort of grazed over something about his wife. She went to jail or something, and then Miscavige's wife hasn't come up. There's a second season though. I don't know.
That's so sick though.
Felt like they ran out of
Ron
stuff to
Hubbard
talk
just,
about.
Like, wrote, just created Scientology like not that long ago.
It's nuts.
It's like pretty recent.
Do you know what else is nuts? Is the famous people that are in it, like the Tom Cruises of the world. They're living the life.
Yeah.
Like so they have their celebrity center. And basically what happens is Tom Cruise, guys like that, they give him, he's got everyone he wants. Like he's got like 4 Scientologists that are like full-time that are just Tom Cruise's personal people. If he wants a cleaner, Scientology sends him one. If anyone's messing.
Cleaner?
Like a maid. Like if
Why can't he hire just like he has to hire like he only hires? It's
my
like the
point
Mormons,
to you
like they
is
hire
he don't
within?
have to hire it.
Oh, it's free.
Yes, it's all like half of Scientology is like making sure Tom Cruise is happy.
Right.
So like when you kind of have these things where they're like, why would Will Smith be a Scientology? It's like if you're the main guy, you're living the fucking dream, man.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
And then on
So
top
much
of that, you have
Travolta.
this like 40,000 people, multi-million-dollar organization that's got your back, whatever you do. You know.
Yeah.
So it kind of is. If you're rich in Scientology, if you're like a famous actor, you're probably living the dream.
Yeah, that sounds pretty sick.
The only thing you do is go to conferences and fucking kiss babies and shake hands every now and then.
That's fine.
Yeah, like they're not.
That's probably
doing
a
none of
big
this stuff
sell
to Tom
for
Cruise.
Scientology too. Like if you kind of get to a certain level, you get to meet Tom Cruise.
Well, that's the reason why these guys have such a dream, because they're figureheads.
Yeah, exactly. But that's a pretty good deal for everybody.
Yeah, and the other thing, it almost like a little bit made me fucking annoyed with the media, because even though the media was like right about Scientology, it was just like there's these like weasels in the thing and they keep crying victim, but you're just like okay, yes, probably good that like Scientology got exposed for some of this stuff, and it sounds like shitty in terms of like cults and religions or whatever. Like I don't know how high it ranked for me in terms of like the level of expose. You know what I mean? However, the media guy on the other side, these guys kept being like, they would kind of say things like, and they were trying to discredit me, and it was like, well, they're trying to discredit you because you're trying to write like a tell-all about how the religion should be shut down.
Yeah, of course.
Like, it was just like journalists. It's like your whole deal is. It's like there's all YouTube channels that like their whole deal is like hit pieces or whatever, right? Like the same in comedy, right? Your whole deal is writing hit pieces about people and why they should lose their job or whatever, right? It was like the Taylor Lorenz's of the world, right? And then they kind of. But then, like, someone kind of like be like, "Oh, what about her?" And they're digging into my past.
Yeah, of course.
And it was like, yeah, I mean,
Well, they think they're infallible. Not to use the religion term.
yeah, but you go, and so do they.
Yeah.
It's like you don't like it and they don't like it. It was like, regardless of right or wrong, you're just like, I mean, people don't like having you fucking try to write articles.
What?
about-
You think they're gonna not defend themselves? Like,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous to think that those just.
So it kind of was that they were just like, and they declared us enemies of the church, and it was like, and then it was like, okay, they were doing crazy stuff and blah blah, but you're like, but you were though, right?
Yeah.
Like you're admitting that you were an enemy of the church.
And that declaring people enemies of the church, hasn't the Catholic Church been doing that for like ever?
Hey, exactly.
Yeah.
In terms of religious scandals, I left it being like, yeah, that seems kind of shitty. Like their thing seems like bullshit. It all seems like, stupid.
Yeah.
And it does, it seems like any corporation. Like the same probably if you, like it seemed like the stuff they do was like if you probably write an expose about fucking big oil, you probably get the same treatment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Like that's just what it seemed to me. I was like not saying it's good, but it didn't seem like uniquely crazy.
Sure.
That was the Cosmic Crater thing that you were posting. That's why you can't trust these media people.
Cosmo Kramer?
The Cosmo Kramer thing.
What was the Cosmo Kramer thing?
No, the Cosmic Crater.
Oh, that was so fucking funny. Holy shit. I couldn't believe it. For people who don't know, it's like in Ireland or whatever, they did this news thing about they found this crater that was like a meteor, and they did this whole thing, and this guy was like a craterologist or whatever the fuck, and he's like, he has this rock, and he's like, see the grids on this rock. He's like, that's when it was entering the atmosphere, and then it hit here and made this giant crater. And then these like guys on TikTok were like, yeah, we just dug this hole at the beach yesterday.
Yeah, right.
It's not a crater.
So that's how easy it is to trick these media people.
Yeah.
Or and just people in general. I mean, it's very easy to pick people. Gonna take a second here because I gotta tell you people about HelloFresh. You might be saying, what's HelloFresh? Well, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. You skip to the trips to the grocery store. You can count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. And that's why it's America's #1 meal kit. You can look like a bad boy cooking food without having to worry about missing something. You're making another trip to the grocery store because you didn't have one ingredient. Bing, bang, boom. They give you what you need. Kickstart a fresh fall routine with HelloFresh. They handle the meal planning and the shopping to deliver everything you need to cook up tasty meals right at home. They do the hard part and you take all the credit. Like I said, you're looking like a cool guy who can cook. If you ever wonder if you can spend less time planning, shopping, cooking for the family, and more time with the people you want to hang out with, from easy time-saving breakfast, from family dinners to kid-approved lunches, HelloFresh has what it takes to keep everyone, including you, happy and satisfied. HelloFresh is also more than just dinners. You can stock your fridge with easy breakfast, quick lunches, fresh snacks. You shop HelloFresh Market and you add any of these tasty time-saving solutions to your weekly box. And you know, with HelloFresh, you're getting top-notch produce.
Yeah, with HelloFresh, they sent me the golden chicken schnitzel box, which comes with potatoes and beans, and it's honestly just like so easy. You get all the ingredients. It's an easy way to just put it together. It's super fast. It's delicious. And had I had to go do it myself, you always need like one ingredient that you don't have, and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna go buy this ingredient. It's like $20 for like a pinch of something, and then you never use it again. So it's just a giant pain in the ass.
So you go to HelloFresh.com/50BoysCast. Use the code 50BoysCast for 50% off plus 15% off the next 2 months. So that is HelloFresh.com/50BoysCast with the code 50BoysCast, 50% off plus 15% off the next 2 months. And you know, we got to tell you about AG1. Now, this is something that I do every single day. It's the first thing that I do when I wake up, and it is the one way that I've been able to probably keep an actual vitamin routine into my system.
It's the best.
Yeah, it's the best every time, and it comes to your door every month. It tastes good. This is something that the reason I wanted to try it is because just sometimes eventually, especially if you're like doing tons of stuff, you just generally have a feeling of tiredness.
Yeah, and it tastes amazing. And the best thing is just like, I don't know, I always do it. I just make my coffee as my coffee is brewing, grab the shaker bottle, 1 scoop of AG1, and I just start shaking that stuff up. And just like the fact that you pair it, because that's actually like a habit thing, is you always want to pair habits with another habit. That's the best way to keep it, is you pair a habit with something you are already doing. And I can't remember what the actual term for it is called, but so I always I'm going to do coffee every day, add on the AG1. It's such a good combo.
We've had this conversation with people in real life too, but there's lots of people that are about it. You've heard Ricky Gervais, Joe Rogan talking about it. So AG1 is the foundational nutritional supplement that delivers comprehensive nutrients to support whole body health. Why take a bunch of different things when you can mix 1 scoop of powder in water once a day? And AG1 helps you build your health foundation first. It's delivered to me every month, so you never have to miss a day. I also get the single serving AG1 travel packs that I bring on tour, and you never have to miss a day. With AG1, taking good care of your body is really that simple. If you want to take ownership of your health, try AG1. Get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/boyscast. That is drinkag1.com/boyscast and check it out. I've had a couple different things, but maybe we should just get into this a little bit. This week, I've never seen more people that were celebrities get canceled in a row.
It's Takedown City.
It was, buddy, we're talking fucking Oliver Anthony's in trouble. Lauren Boebert's in trouble.
Yeah.
Russel Brand's getting fucking cooked.
Yep.
Drew Barrymore.
Yep.
Bill Maher. Hasan Minaj. Trump's in trouble with his people. Like,
Again.
it was really, people were getting cooked this week, right?
I mean, that's it happens. That's what you get out there, if then you get taken down, you get up on that perch and people are trying to knock you down.
Well, there's part of it's that for sure. I mean, my take a little bit was like, it's almost people were like back to big celebrities at least. Because,
Well, two of the things were related specifically to the Russel Brand.
Well, let's go through
the
them.
Drew Barrymore, Bill Maher thing are the same thing.
they're the same thing. I'll give you that.
They're just basically trying to avoid the strike.
Let's go through them a little one by
Yeah.
one. Okay. Russell Brand's obviously the biggest one.
Yeah, Russell Brand's the biggest one.
And then there's some, the smaller ones with the Oliver Anthony's just straight up. It was funny to me because basically he essentially was going to do this show, and then people were saying that he was charging too much for tickets, and then he canceled the thing, and then the venue goes, well, we had to charge that much because you wanted $100,000 for the show.
120 grand
and then
for the
he
show.
basically said, well, I have some agent that booked it, and I
Yeah,
fired him now.
yeah.
Blah, 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 right? And the funny part to me was that Oliver Anthony got to be like an old soul for about 4 seconds, and now he's just another guy getting yelled at on the
Well,
internet.
his whole thing was like anti-capitalism. Even though he's not like against capitalism, he like had some issues with certain like it just would not be a good look for him to just be like rich all of a sudden. So I think he's trying to like trying to somehow manage that. And then but people are like, yeah, lots of people would like to see you live. Like there's a huge demand for it. You'd be stupid not to. And you're like, to go to a venue that has seats 2,000 people, like there's just a huge cost associated with running and renting a venue like that.
Right.
Like, and if like you need to get paid.
But I
like,
think that it's kind of like the same thing as everyone has these, principles, and then they have to run a business and realize it's actually like harder than you think, and
For
then other
sure.
people complain. But is a bit where you're just like, it is kind of easy to say prices should be this, like prices should be lower, and you're just like, okay, well then, if you're gonna do that, you need to have like a bigger venue, and then you need to charge less. Like,
Yeah.
it was obviously just like it's so much easier to backseat drive than it is to drive.
Of course,
right?
of course, for
But
sure.
It's
Like
just,
even if he wanted a perfect world, he goes, you know what? Meet me in this cornfield tomorrow at 4 p.m. Right? He's like, however many of you want to come. I'm gonna just like set up a little stage. I'm gonna like stand
Sure.
on a
Pay what
soapbox.
you can.
I'm gonna
We'll
stand.
pass the hat
no, he's
around.
gonna be like, I'm gonna stand on a soapbox, and then I'm gonna do it for free. And then the farmer's like, yeah, you can't use my land. You're gonna trample all my corn. And he goes, okay, how much is that gonna cost? He goes, I don't know. Like you can use it for like $5,000. He goes, okay, sounds good. And they go, all right, they're gonna need to park somewhere. I go, how much is that gonna cost? Probably like another $5,000. You're gonna have to hire like 10 attendants to deal with the parking. It's gonna need to
Insurance.
be insurance. There's gonna need to be like a shuttle and stuff. He goes, oh, okay. And he goes, and they go, you're just playing acoustic? He goes, yeah. They're not gonna be able to hear you at the back. There's no way. So you're gonna need to just get a whole PA system. He goes, how much is that gonna cost? Probably like another $10,000. You're gonna need like a stage and stuff at this point, and like you need to, and they all work in the union, so they're not cheap. And eventually it's just like $50,000 for you want to play for free in a fucking field. You're like, I don't know.
it's exactly how
Yeah,
it
just
shakes
shit
down.
adds up, dude.
No, that's exactly how it shakes down. And it is just funny. It's like no one's exempt from just every single person in the world within 5 minutes now on the internet. No matter what your message is, it's like you're just a guy fucking getting yelled at from the cheap seats.
Well, that's why the rappers are smart, because the rappers all start off with just like stacks of money that they're using as cell phones, and they go,
It's a better plan.
yeah, and they go, yeah, now the only difference is the money's real.
Yeah, it's a better plan because they were like, oh, this guy's sold out. And you're like, sold out? I was saying that I'm rich when I wasn't rich.
Yeah, exactly.
If anything, I sold in.
Yeah, it's all in, yeah.
Well, so that would just makes me laugh. But on the other side, the only thing I'll give him is like he was saying, I don't realize it or whatever, blah, blah. But you're like, if you want to make all these statements, you need to be more tapped in. But there is so many people that are just trying to steal money from you. Like that was the Theo
For
Vaughn
sure.
thing. The Theo Vaughn thing when he like posted about it. And I think a lot of people have posted like this big podcast company that was basically stealing his money and blah, blah, right?
Yeah.
But it was just like, it is interesting. I've been in this industry, or just entertainment, not this specific one, obviously, but like in entertainment at large since I was 17.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like having managers and agents and stuff like that. And so, 20 years. And the amount of people, it's like, there's very few people that make a lot of money in this industry. And there are so many people that have jobs trying to invent how to take it.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it's like you're just constantly getting scammed, right?
Yeah, you're getting bombarded with people who think that they can,
I've had people steal, $10,000 from me here. You have it's just, you're always getting screwed, right? So I do get why you're just like, some guy was like, I'll be your agent, blah, blah, blah. And before you know it, you're
For sure.
signing up for something. And
Yeah, and the Theo Vaughn thing was especially true because I guess like all the comics, they just kept endorsing this guy to everybody else because they're like, yeah, this deal's great, and then it just turns out it was not good.
Yeah, it's great, but they don't pay you.
They don't pay you, and then it sounded like essentially like a Ponzi scheme to a degree. because the guy kept saying he
Definitely a Ponzi
well,
scheme.
he's like we're
gonna try to launch it.
Well, we're paying you. We're giving podcast guaranteed money. So but they weren't actually bringing in that money. So then the only way to pay the guarantees was to bring in new podcasts. You're like, it's like that's a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, that's a Ponzi scheme.
And then I saw the CoffeeZilla thing where he interviewed the guy. CoffeeZilla, like,
What did the guy say?
oh, you didn't see it. So CoffeeZilla interviewed the guy. And the guy's like, here, I just want my side of the story. And then it's just like the guy was full of shit. He not only that, but like a month before all this stuff went down, the guy bought a house for $1.7 million.
Yeah, he did.
And then transferred it to like a fucking LLC or like transferred it to like some company. But he used this website that literally, like, the website is like, got legal problems coming up, need to hide your assets. like legitimately, that's like the website, what it says. And the guy's like, well, I can't comment on what it says on a website. And you're like, dude.
There's so many weasels in the business, dude.
Totally.
Every day I got a new guy. You know what's funny? Like the amount of times I've had people just like like someone will convince me I need to talk to someone and they'll be like, you know, I need to sell. It's multi-marketing and blah 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 and I go. I'm just like, I'm pretty good nowadays at being like, hey, I don't have like a ton of time right now. What are you asking for me
Yeah.
in one sentence? What are you proposing?
Yeah.
And they always be like, well, there's so much stuff we could do. I go,
Yeah.
And then
the moment they can't say it really quickly, you go, yeah.
do you know what? I had a fucking hilarious one, dude. So my bank called me, right? And they've been calling me like nonstop. Like I probably had like 25 missed calls over the last month. And I just eventually was just like, okay, I got to take this call. Like, is something wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the guy basically is trying to pitch me on some service, right? And I'm like, hey, listen, you guys have been calling me a lot. What exactly are you calling me for? He goes, he's giving me some of that pitch. He's like, you know, the financial services and this, and there's lots of things that could really help you and blah, blah. And I'm just like, okay, I have like, and he was like, I'd like to set up a time. And I was like, listen, I'm not going to set up a meeting, but I have like 10 minutes right now. If you pitch it to me, like, if it sounds like a smart idea. And he goes, well, for starters, you need to we can get you a savings account that you have 5% interest. So, and I was just like, oh, and that's like liquid or whatever. Like I could just put it there. And he goes, yes, exactly. And I go, okay, so let's do that. And then he goes, can I call you back?
Why?
He didn't know how to do it. Oh. So he calls me back and then he goes, okay, so what you do is go in your bank and do this and then do that and blah, blah. And I was like, okay, so now I can just put my money in here. And then I go, okay, I just did that. And he goes, can I call you back again? I swear to God. I'm like, this motherfucker. He calls me back. He goes, okay, so we started the wrong account. And he goes, turns out that if you want to do the 5% interest, you have to call this other number. And I go, can you at least get rid of the account you just started for me? And he goes, unfortunately not. So this motherfucker called me, sold me on this bullshit. So I tell him to do it. Doesn't have any clue how to do it. And then he goes, you're going to have to call this number. So now I just have this extra account.
Yeah.
And I have to call some other number, wait in line to call. And I'm like, you can't even set it
At
up.
that point, I'd just be like, look, can we just make a deal? You just take 1% of all my money and just leave me alone, please. He goes, good deal.
Oh, that's the crazy part. After all this, I was just like, all right, so I guess I'll call them anyways. Okay, thanks for nothing, basically. And then the guy goes, so the other part, though, like, do you want to hear about it? And I'm just like, I've literally said to the guy, I'm like, are you insane? I was like, you pitched me one thing. We took 20 minutes. You couldn't do it. Now I have a chore.
Yeah.
What on earth would I fucking want to hear about the next thing? Like, and he's going to tell me like investment advice. I'm like, buddy.
Yeah, you're like, no.
If I get advice,
you blew it, pal.
yeah. So these are the kind of psychos that are going on there. Marilyn Manson's in trouble because he blew his news. Do you know that one?
What?
So Marilyn Manson had all these allegations, right?
What happened with all this?
I think they kind of I don't think anything really shook down with it. It was all public court. But he's in court right now, and there's a lot of like videos about him being in court and their photos. And I kind of thought the same as you, that it was related to that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. And then I looked at it, and he pleaded no contest. And I was like, oh shit, the sex shit caught up to him. And he goes, for blowing his nose on a videographer.
No.
I guess he was at a concert, and he goes, snot rockets. Especially Marilyn Manson's so fucking fat with his makeup on. He's snot rocketing dudes.
I'm kind of siding with the videographer on that one.
Me a little bit. Pretty gross, dude. We're all stars now at the snot show.
Snot rockets are one of the most disgusting things.
Pretty gross,
like,
yeah.
You see them people just walking around the streets and just.
I know, Marilyn Manson too. Extra gross,
nasty stuff.
It's nasty. Yeah. Lauren Boebert's in trouble.
Yeah, Lauren Boebert.
Howard Stern wasn't happy about that.
Howard Stern's a fucking loser. Howard Stern is like everything that guy says. You're like, you are just
What are you doing? Yeah, it's just
What are you like? You have no frame of reference of who you used to be, like, and does that not
I
like
used to do literal
factor
fucking,
into anything that you say?
Yeah, I
at
feel like
all?
hack even saying this because it's so obvious that like, how do you not see it then, Howard
Yeah,
Stern?
yeah, exactly. Like,
and I guess
are you
used to
really
do
just
fucking-
like, yeah, you just think you fucking just do like snap your fingers and just like, yeah, that's who I was. I'm a new man now, and I'm just gonna talk shit about all these people. And you're like, for stuff and you're like, oh my god, like that guy is fucking next level.
If anything, it made Lauren Boebert like sick.
She's got sick jugs, that's for sure.
He went down on her in Athena.
I interviewed
David
her.
Coulier
I
fucking
interviewed
giving her a call right now, dude.
Yeah, I interviewed her before.
You interviewed Lauren Boebert?
Yeah.
About what?
When you don't remember that when I went in hot water with Gino Bisconte, like right when I moved to New York, and then I went on, and that's when she was running for. She just like worked at a restaurant. She was running to be like a congresswoman, and her whole deal was like she like had a gun. She's like always has guns and stuff, and she like had like a gun at her restaurant, I believe, like as a waitress or a manager or something. And then, anyways, like interviewed her, and then I swore, and she's like, you can't swear, like she was like a big deal. You can't swear even though you're in hot water.
Doesn't like swearing.
And then I was in some blog being like, Lauren Boebert goes on racist podcast, and it was my face and her face.
She's polishing her gun.
Yeah, like if you literally search Lauren Boebert racist podcast, it's me and Gino Bisconte and Lauren Boebert.
It's kind of funny. Well, yeah, Howard Stern wasn't happy with that. There wasn't really much more to that.
What's Howard Stern happy with? What is he happy with?
He's not happy with
Joe
a lot,
Biden?
man.
Is that who he's happy with? He just loves Biden?
No, he's happy with like a big celebrity. Like he's happy with like Lady Gaga. That's who he's happy with right now. Like in his mind, like a big, like Taylor Swift would be like a big for him.
That's crazy too, because he's like he's insulated himself so much now that like nobody would ever come in and just kind of give him shit for like who he's become. Like he probably only
probably
like,
get fired immediately.
But like he used to bring on like comics and stuff. It seems like who were just like around.
You're right though. He never brings on.
Like, does he have whack pack guys anymore?
No, I don't think he does any of that stuff.
He doesn't do any of that stuff, right? He's just like the most corporate.
It's a different guy. Yeah, it is like whatever. It's just a bummer sometimes, but Howard Stern's still the fucking goat in some ways. But
Yeah.
So the Russel Brand one's obviously like the big thing, right?
Yeah.
And I'll just say my interesting sort of the thing about this that was sort of interesting to me was it was like, I guess Tate was a little bit like this, but these accusations come out and it was very like two different worlds. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like one world of like, this, we want to never see him again, and the other world being like, oh, look at the media, like trying to take down another truth teller kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And I thought that a lot of people felt, and including myself, one of the big things that's kind of interesting about this era, to like sum up why it's so annoying, it's like it's almost, you can't really trust there's no like judicial system because it doesn't go to courts.
Yeah.
There's no like media you can really trust. Even like all of the big pundits are sort of like they're either conservative or liberal. So most of the biggest people are sort of have a slant. Like there's a few people that don't, but even then they're just commentators a lot of times. So it's not like they have like inside info. So there's almost like no one to trust. So it's like, it's sort of an uncomfortable feeling as a society that there's just like, there's no judge to trust. Like I don't want to have to be the judge on every individual like case like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You go,
I mean, with him,
and then on top of that, you have to be judged on how you judge it.
Yeah.
And I'm not even saying me. Like we're fucking, obviously if people want to fucking not like our takes, who gives a shit, right? But I'm saying for your average person, you're kind of like, so I have to be a judge. I got to look at the case. Every case that comes out, I got to sort of like do my own research.
Sure.
And, then I saw this article, and then like you're doing your own research on a case. There's no like objectivity that you can. And then on top of that, if you judge it wrong, people are just like, that's how you adjudicated it?
Right.
You thought that he might be innocent? Well, based on what I saw,
I'm just
what kind
like,
of
look,
fucking society
I'm like,
is
look,
that?
Kevin Spacey just stood trial for a thing that happened like fucking 30 years ago or something. Like,
and won.
Yeah, and he won. Shout out to the Space Meister. But, I'm like, look, put him, if you think that there's a case, obviously things like sexual assault cases, like same with like Cosby and Weinstein and all this stuff. Like, you know, you can go to trial for these things way after they happen. Some people are found guilty, some people are found not guilty, however you feel about that. But you're like, do it in trial. Like, I don't know, the fact that they demonetized his YouTube channel is fucking nuts. Like the fact that YouTube just goes, hey, we're like, these accusations can come out. And someone made a good point, I think it was Luke Rudowski or whatever, but he's like, Cardi B literally admitted to drugging and raping men.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of it,
and like her account is monetized. So you're like, okay, YouTube, like, and like everybody understands how.
Well, no, they have people that were murderers that were like, you know, they were like proven murderers and all this sort of stuff that are on there. And there was like we just had MTV Jesse on. The Nelk Boys at the time got kicked off for throwing a party in COVID.
Yeah, exactly. So like obviously YouTube is a private company,
and they didn't post it on YouTube,
even though they're essentially like a utility and they have way too much power, and that's how they do it. But like with Russel Brand, for the most part, you know, he does his live shows on Rumble. I can't imagine him really losing like he has like a 6 million subscriber YouTube, but I can't imagine him losing too much of his audience.
It's kind of a weird thing. Yeah, it's like nothing even happens.
Yeah, nothing happens. I'm just like, look, fucking, if they think they have a case against them, then take them to court, and if not, then just like whatever. There'll be another allegation. It's almost that not a lot of people like. I don't think anybody who really liked Russel Brand left Team Brand over this.
So I'm saying it's almost like this.
It's just
weird, like patting on the back. It's the equivalent of like them making a thing that Rogan's racist or something. You know what I mean? Like when it was just like it changes zero people's mind. They get to be like, see,
yeah,
it's like almost just becomes like one of those or whatever
thing out there. And you're like, I mean, he was the self-professed sex addict dude and all this stuff. You're like, I don't know. Is it possible? Certainly. I guess it's possible. I don't know.
And then there's always like middle ground.
Do bitches lie? Certainly.
It's all, all of the options are there.
Just like it's all the options.
That's what I'm saying, though. There's no place for it's like every person's got to fucking put on their judge suit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I guess there's an alternative or an option.
Like imagine every case was like the criminal cases. They're just like, there's no trial. It's like, we just have to decide, every person has to decide for himself whether they think this guy's a murderer based on like sort of spotty info that you get here and there.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, not to be like, not to sit on the fence, but I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't really care. Like,
I just mean in general.
I know it's like, it is like the biggest story right now, but I'm just like, all right, well, you know, if we have courts, like, you know, this isn't like some fucking third world country. Like there are courts.
Well, you're a brand head too.
I'm a brand head. Yeah. But I don't know. Like I'm not like I don't watch his shit.
I definitely do not.
But you know, I buy his bunker supplies. But that's about it.
Those fucking British use too many big words.
Yeah.
Except for Douglas Murray. Shout out next week.
Yeah. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
A lot of big words from that guy. Yeah. You know what? I'm not going to kick a man while he's in going through a crisis.
And like everybody's like, oh, he's like, you know, he speaks out against Pfizer, and you're like, look, two things can be true here, and like obviously he used to be like
all these options can be true,
and also he used to be like when they're accusing him of all this stuff, he was like a mainstay of Hollywood, like he was like in the system, A-list guy. He was fucking married to Katy Perry, like he was at the top, you know, like he was in that machine, like so it's like was it possible that he's a different man now than he used to be, and he did that then, and he's not that now? Like certainly, I don't know. All the conspiracy people who are like, oh, like, you know, he speaks out against Pfizer and then blah, blah, blah. This
it's maybe a little bit true. I don't know.
There might be something to it, but I don't know. The problem is that you kind of like all the people who are
British people were coming over this, dude. I say fucking, I've never seen some people so happy. Just
there's a lot of British comics. A lot of British comics, I guess, hate him.
They hate him.
Yeah, he was not a fan, and
he is not well liked in the comedy community over there.
No,
the comedy community is very, very like. It seems like the British comedy community is very more like politically like active anti-Trump kind of types.
Yeah, exactly. Which is weird because he's like he would, you know, if you describe him pre-Trump, you're like Russell, you're like, I don't know, the most liberal person on earth. You're like if once you reach the end of the fucking spectrum, it's like Russell Brand's hanging out there doing yoga or some shit. You're like, can't be more liberal than Russell Brand.
Sure.
And then now everybody's like that fucking MAGA Nazi dude.
Well, do you know what the thing I think what changed with him was he was sort of like, it was a little more intellectual or whatever, whether real intellectual or not. His whole thing was just like, he was kind of like, it's all a fucking theater man kind of guy. And then he was kind of saying like, we need like a real revolution, sort of a little more closer to what Jimmy Dore says, where he was just like, this whole thing's bullshit, voting's bullshit. We need like a complete revolution. I think he had his book about how like we need just a completely new thing. And it was almost very like esoteric in the sense of like, you're almost writing about like a new society. And I think a lot of people were like, no, the right answer is like Obama's the best guy.
Right.
And he was kind of like, I'm above that intellectually sort of thing. And I think that position of like being like, I'm above this intellectually, that got turned into like, you mean the enemy?
Right, yeah. I mean, look, my conspiracy like antenna will go way up if he gets like kicked off a Rumble or something. I'll be like, yeah, this was fucking big pharma for sure. Like if he gets kicked off of Rumble, then
I think I'm a little closer.
Something's afoot here.
I don't think it has to be. Like, I mean, those things, a lot of times people say this, but it can be a conspiracy without actually having to be a conspiracy.
Yeah.
It's like the incentives align where you're like, this guy's doing all this stuff. Everyone hates him. Maybe there's this story that wouldn't have got run, but because we hate him,
I mean, I do.
Like, we're digging into this because he became the enemy.
And
so it's
again,
almost like, it happens at the same time. The people who talk about pharma and all that stuff are also the people that the media all hates.
Yeah,
so it's
I will say it is weird that this didn't come out during the height of the Me Too.
I could have thought that too.
Me Too movement.
How did it squeak by that?
Yeah, you're like, how did it get through Me Too? And the only thing I can think of is that during Me Too, he was still super liberal. Right, and so they kind of maybe gave him.
I sort of thought
pass,
that too, but liberal guys were getting taken down.
They
too.
were, I guess. Yeah. So
really
there you go. So yeah. So
people say that, but it doesn't make sense.
I guess that's the only thing I can think of. You're like, why? If there's multiple allegations,
liberals were getting sprayed too.
Yeah. Why was he just?
Everyone was getting sprayed, dude.
Why was there no whole thing? Rose McGowan actually put out something today. Who like started Me Too? She put out some like Twitter audio thing, basically saying like, "This is fishy" with Russel Brand, because she's also like, why are they doing this? She thinks there's ulterior motives at play, which that makes sense.
I think it's going to be a Tate situation where it's just going to kind of sit in the. Some people say yes, some people say no.
Tate's different because Tate has actual criminal proceedings against him currently.
Yeah.
Whereas these are now, and
it's also so much different.
That's not to this is how a lot of these Me Too things started, and then they wound up with like these people going to court. So I would not be surprised if Russell Brand is going to court at some point.
It's also such different in different industries, though, too. You know what I mean? Like this stuff comes out about like a fighter, and it was just like the next day you'll never hear about it again.
Yeah.
This industry, like kind of like media, is more like run by activists, I guess, so to speak. So it's almost like. You know what I mean? Like, there's other industries where it's like you would hear like, oh, there might be something for 20 years ago, and then you just like never. Okay, you never. It was on like page 4 of one day, and then it just doesn't catch on. Or rappers or whatever.
He's such a poster boy for like anti-vax stuff too, so that like the media, who is like will generally be pro-vaccine, can use it as a like, see, look at all you fucking idiots who supported this guy. With your anti-vax shit, and he's a fucking rapist. How you like that? We're better than you. Like we didn't support him. We're not pro-rape.
Take that.
Kind of. I don't know, but I mean, I would guess that you'll see him in court very likely, like in a Spacey situation. I mean, if Spacey had to go to court, like I can't see how he's.
I guess that's what happens. You let it play out. I mean, better than whatever this public adjudication is.
Yeah, I mean, Spacey had the same one too. They took.
Hasan Minaj is in trouble.
Hasan Minaj is in the news. Shout out to Hasan.
I like Hasan. I see him at the cellar. He's funny.
Yeah, he's funny.
Good guy, but
no, this is the classic.
This one's hilarious.
This is the number one. This is the best example of don't hate the player. Hate the game.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, there's nothing, because you're like, look, yeah, sure.
I'll just say what happened.
So he had a bunch of jokes in his act that, like about he like had anthrax sent to his house, and it was like this whole like Islamophobia kind of element, and he's like thought some anthrax got on his kid, and there was a whole thing where he's like a target of Islamophobia, and it just coincidentally happened to, like propel his career into an A-list comedian that like it was a catalyst for sure, like this kind of stuff. And then now it turned out that it was not true. And now some people are butthurt about it.
It is. Yeah, there's a fun. Some of it's like, wait, you thought like all comedy's true. But then, my take was always like, I don't care if it was true. I have to be possible. Like, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, for example, I always say a really good, simple way to say the same thing. It's like some guy's like, oh, I was in a fight with my girlfriend today, and he's on stage, right? I don't really care if you were in a fight with your girlfriend, but if your girlfriend is a famous actress who's hosting the Grammys tonight, and you were like, backstage, I got in a fight with my girlfriend, we're all like, well, we know for a fact that didn't happen.
Sure. Okay,
So
well, what about this? Okay, what about this? Because I'm actually like maybe less so than you, because I'm like, if you're using these
Well, that's the first part of it. The
yeah.
second part of it is that it has to be something that would happen. So if you come and you're kind of like, oh, I was talking to this girl and she says men suck or whatever, right? You're just like, oh, okay. You're just like, that's a person that's saying something that a million people have said, and she's one of the people that you're arguing against. So it's kind of irrelevant whether she said it or not, because it does get said.
Yeah.
But the other version is they go, I was talking to this guy and he says doors should be round. And I go, doors should be round? Like, who the fuck? And you argue against a thing that no one thinks.
That nobody thinks, sure.
That to me is always stupid. It's like you're just.
But he was using like, you know, this kind of like pendulum swinging back against the Islamophobia that like was around legitimately post 9/11 for like 2 decades.
But there is, we know
he rode
dude,
this
how many
wave.
one of our friends have a bit where they're just like, I was walking down, I was at the airport and this guy starts yelling that I'm a terrorist. And
For
you're just
sure.
like, and it'll be like a guy that looks like a frat dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're just like, how we all have like 5 friends that have a bit about like, the people like they couldn't get through TSA because someone's calling them a terrorist, and you're just like, first of all, TSA is like a bunch of black ladies.
Yeah.
Like they didn't see like a fucking 30-year-old Indian dude to call him a terrorist, but like whatever. I guess.
And it's why
but
I say don't hate the player, hate the game.
I agree. Yeah,
Right?
That shit murders.
Because it murders, and like I guess there's just this element where
It's the girl being like, I went to a job interview and then a guy told me a woman in this job, and you know what I said to him, and then she gives him a
of course.
fucking earful.
Okay,
in the bit.
what would you say about like
I'm walking down the street, 9 guys in KKK robes start calling me the N-word, and everyone's like, boo. You go, guess what I said to them? And then, you know.
Okay,
you have a big
what
comeback.
about, you know, the girl who got the beer thrown at her?
I go, nice robe, pal.
You know the girl who got the beer thrown at her?
Yes.
Okay. If that turned out to be like, that was her brother and that was set up.
I would hate that.
You would hate that, but should there be any punishment for that? Or we go like, you know what? Good play. That you use that, like you hit a fucking like nail on the head right there. Like that was what everybody wanted. You got to go do Kimmel. You're headlining all these clubs now, and just like, you know, water under the bridge. Good work. Or like, is there any sort of clawback?
Well, what's the punish? I mean, who's dishing out punishment? I mean, the punishment is in people's minds where they go, ugh.
I guess.
Like, I mean, I think that it probably, but I see what you're saying. Like, if get to this place,
Well, you can't take away the late.
I mean, it's Milli Vanilli situation.
That's different. Cause
How?
I guess. Yeah. That's
Like, what's the difference?
Yeah.
If you're like, hey, I'm
This is
this
more
like
like a
quick
Jussie-
crowd work person,
this is
and then
more
you
like-
find out it was fake, that's a Milli Vanilli
yeah,
situation.
it's more like Jussie Smollett, I think. Milli Vanilli. Yeah.
I guess it's
yeah.
Jussie Smollett, but what I mean in the context of your crowd work bit, that's like finding out the guy was lip syncing.
But I guess that's what I'm saying. Do you think like would it be like, I guess what I'm saying is like, would it be appropriate for all the clubs to be like, because I don't think that would happen. I think even if that came out, the clubs wouldn't stop booking her.
No, I don't
Like,
think that
I
there
don't
should
think
be.
it's-
I don't
yeah.
think. That, well, I'm not like a communist like you, so I'm not trying to fucking put together some, you know, centralized social like order
Yeah.
that dishes out punishments.
Sure.
Period. Right. So it's like that's just not how things work.
Well,
where you-
yeah.
So
I
how
agree.
would there be a centralized punishment?
No, I'm
But
not saying there should be a centralized punishment. I mean,
I
it'd
think
still be
you're
individualized.
Obviously, some people will be just like,
Yeah.
I don't like them as
But
much
I don't
anymore."
really think Hasan Minaj will have.
If they found out you're wearing a fat suit,
Yeah.
your fat fans would feel a little bit.
You lied to me. You betrayed us.
So,
I don't know. So, anyways, but yeah, a lot of people were mad about it, and I saw a lot of brown people were mad about it because they're like, you kind of hurt the cause.
Well, you always heard the cause with like when you say a hate crime.
It's a fake hate crime.
Obviously, that hurts the cause. I mean, you know, should
Yeah.
know that better than anyone. Fucking
All the fake hate crimes. are
the fucking 45 swastikas a day that get drawn.
I have a stamp.
Government
I have a
buildings.
stamp. I just walk by, and go boop, boop. Stamp
Dude,
on.
can you
Way
imagine
quicker.
how big of a bust it would be if someone caught like a literal Orthodox Jew in costume drawing, like in the act of drawing a swastika on the wall,
Like, sure, it's for sure happened.
They've caught him in the act where you got see the guy. He's got the hat on, the tassels, and and he turns around like flash photography, and he's just like, like holding the thing.
I guarantee you, they've had like security cameras.
They probably don't wear their outfit with.
They only have one outfit that they're allowed to wear. It's not like they have a lot of different outfits.
That would be the internet would explode if they got that photo on camera, dude. That would be a meme. You'd have to see it more. For sure be a meme. Like legitimately caught in the act. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's usually probably more kids, but yeah, I'm sure I would not be surprised if.
Yeah, it's the journalists that are like they're you know, like Superman, he got to be Clark Kent and he got to be first to the story.
Yeah.
That's a lot of it with these like journalists. Like if they can fake the hate crime, they can be the first to the story, right?
That's true. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. No hard feelings against Hasan Minaj.
No, but it's just like it is. He's like, I'm surprised. It's crazy that it's like funny that he even became a thing.
Yeah.
No hard feelings with him.
Yeah, man.
He's good in your books.
I respect the move. I respect the move. Every day.
That was your early act.
Every day I wake up and think.
That was your early act. You'd go, I was walking down the street and someone yelled the K word at
me. Then they rolled me up in a carpet and drew swastikas on my face.
What do we think of that, guys?
And I'd be like, CBC, can I do a thing now?
And that's the world that we're living in. That was you doing comedy at the synagogue.
And someone throws a pack of bacon at me and just hits the wall behind me.
I was walking down the street and they started throwing bacon at me. That's the life I live. That's just a day in the life of Daniel Polisher.
Dude, I wish I had.
No, you're the opposite. No one's ever. You're the most person I've had that's been accused of being anti-Semitic. I wouldn't dare fucking do some of the shit Danny fucking pulls off on stage. The guy's doing like Holocaust fucking tattoo jokes for fucking.
Man, I had so many people got mad at the ADL video where I called the guy last name Goldlust, and people are like, "Goldlust, you fucking anti-Semite." I'm like, I know a guy whose last name is Goldlust. There's no better Jewish last name than Goldlust.
No, you got
that's the tops.
You got the golden ticket. That's what it is.
That's the tops right there for me.
Yeah, or I guess, do you think I should go like the other way where I was like, so I'm walking down the street, a pack of feminists start yelling, white devil. And then, I don't think you'd get the same sympathy.
If you're in the right club, people will be like, yeah, and what'd you do?
Yeah, what'd you do first, pal? We got to take a second here to tell you about Nextevo Naturals. Now, the most important thing is sleep. You've heard everyone say it. This is not some hot news to you.
Nope.
If you're out there not getting sleep, you're tossing, you're turning, you're stressed out, you're waking up, your hair's all over the place, you're looking like Newman from Seinfeld, a mess.
Yep.
And then you're acting like Kramer from Seinfeld. You're all over the place.
Sleep's important.
Yes. So that's why we got to tell you about Nextevo Naturals. When you need to de-stress and sleep better this fall, you reach for the fast-acting CBD products from Nextevo. I got both of them. I got the gummies and I have the normal pills beside my bed. Mix it up depending on how I'm feeling that day. Regular CBD just doesn't mix with your water-based body. Nextevo Natural products are clinically proven to help your body absorb CBD 4 times better than regular CBD oil. And it's simple. They absorb better, contain 100% of the CBD listed on the label, clinically tested, are delicious, no hempy aftertaste. You're not getting screwed like some of these other companies out here where you don't even know how much you're getting. It's a crapshoot. It's like you're rolling the dice every time you want to take CBD to de-stress, get better sleep. They got Nextevo Sleep Support Complex, which combines premium CBD and melatonin so you can wake up refreshed, keep your sleep schedule on track, even during the first few chaotic weeks of fall. They have Nextevo Stress CBD Complex, combines premium CBD and ashwagandha to soothe away stress and stay calm as you get back into your routines. You get more Z's, get more Zen in your life, upgrade to better natural solutions from Nextevo Naturals. Go to nextevo.com, use the promo code BOYSCAST, get a quick 25% off in you. That's 25% off, nextevo.com with the promo code BOYSCAST. And you know I gotta tell you about Factor. I'm all about it. I've been on it. I'm a Factor man. I got a bunch of them in my freezer right now.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been working through. The busy fall season gets in swing. You're looking for wholesome, convenient meals for jam-packed days. Factor is America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit, and they can fuel you up fast with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You're saving time, you're eating well, you're staying on track with a healthy lifestyle. So, in my case, too busy to cook. You pop it in the microwave. We're talking 2 minutes. All you got to do is heat it up and enjoy. Get back to crushing life, crushing the goals. Choose from 34 plus weekly flavor-packed, fresh, never frozen meals, ready to eat in 2 minutes. I've been tossing through a lot of different ones. The main ones I like are the chicken ones, I'd say, probably. But they all have vegetables, too.
Yeah, I don't know. They're great. I mean, for 2 minutes, like, they taste so good. You can't even believe. Because remember, we're like, dude, when I was a kid, you get these, like, microwave meals. It's like, they were barely food.
I know. These
It's like
ones,
the stuff that used to exist, you're like, there wasn't even food.
no, these are fresh. They're good.
No, they're amazing.
They all sort of have, they all seem to be fairly
Yeah, they're all like super
They're all
clean.
pretty healthy.
Yeah, they all have like proteins and vegetables.
Level up with Gourmet Plus. If you're too busy to running around during the day to think about lunch, keep your energy up with Lunch to Go. Effortless, wholesome meals like grain bowls, salad toppers, ready to eat when you're on the go. No microwave required. Looking for calorie conscious options during the busy season? Try delicious dietitian approved calorie smart meals with around or less than 550 calories per serving. So this September, get Factor and enjoy eating well without the hassle. Simply choose your meals. Enjoy fresh, flavor-packed meals delivered to your door, ready in just 2 minutes. No prep, no mess. And, I mean, obviously, this isn't a point that's on the thing, but it is kind of cool that they come with the packs that keep them all cold, but then you can actually just recycle them.
Yeah,
so they sort of like solved that part of it as well.
the smoothies.
And the smoothies are banging, yeah.
Don't get me started on the smoothies.
Head to factormeals.com/boyscast50. Use the promo code boyscast50 to get 50% off. That is the code boyscast50 at factormeals.com/boyscast50 for 50% off. This is okay. So that's all like current events kind of stuff. There's just a lot of it this week.
Yeah.
But this is probably my favorite thing this week. So this girl goes, Netflix, how did it know I was bisexual before I did? And the obvious, like, why it's a BBC thing, right?
Yeah.
And it's so fucking funny because the obvious thing that happened was that, like, it influenced her to be bi.
What do you mean?
Like, she's watching, she was like the type, she's like a, average, like, progressive chick or whatever. She's watching all this gay shit, and then she's like, I could be that.
Oh, well, she probably has the inklings, and then she started watching some like, oh, what's this queer as folk show? Puts that on because she's like in the subconscious. There's like has some inklings about this stuff.
Yeah.
And then their recommendation engine's like, oh, you like this gay shit, do you?
That's what
Here's
happened.
more gay shit.
Well,
and then eventually she's like, oh, I'm gay.
But honestly, too, if you know someone's like, you can probably find out someone's a girl if they watch some girl shit, and then it's like a girl, she watched some girl shit, then she watched like Dear White People, then she watched like fucking Why the Trump's Bad documentary, and they're like, this girl's gonna love gay shit.
Of course. And they just get an audience profile. Like, go on YouTube and just go watch 4 Ben Shapiro videos and see what they show you for the next month.
But you go, like, a lady, she's dumbfounded. She goes, but you go, do a Venn diagram of women who watched Dear White People, the Trump is Bad documentary, why global warming is gonna kill us, and then do a Venn diagram of chicks that are bisexual
temporarily,
and then you go, find out how much of that circle fucking crosses over. You go, Netflix doesn't have to have rocket scientists working there to find out that you might be fucking prone to become bi.
Yeah, and then their like algorithm or whatever shows you like a couple bi things or like real bi things or gay things, and you're like, watch them both start to finish, and they're like
crying with her fist up.
We got one. We got a bogey.
We got a bogey. I realized that I was bisexual my second year of university. Big tech seemed to have worked it out several months before me.
Several months.
I'd only have one term long boyfriend, and I always considered my straight. To be honest, dating wasn't at the top of my agenda. However, at the time, I was watching a lot of Netflix, and I was getting more and more recommendations, series with lesbian storylines or bi characters. More and more and more. It's like, well, definitely we kept watching them.
Yeah.
It's like they do stop giving. That being said, I will say, Netflix is a little less bad, but the phone algorithms, You probably, it's like I said with the titties, they give you titties no matter what.
On YouTube?
You probably,
Or you like Instagram? You mean?
if you like, you probably don't have to like that much like LGBTQ pro hashtag stuff to start getting.
I mean, dude,
fed. You're getting like they turn you into a feeder probably.
For sure. Well, my like
This guy's under 6. He's impressionable.
Netflix,
Get the fucking
like,
ball
me,
gag content
me and my
in
girl
there.
have our own profiles, and like sometimes I'll log into hers or whatever. It's like totally different.
It is totally different.
It is totally different. Like, you know, it's just, it's as it should be. There's so much content on
I'd
it.
like it. I'd like a little. I'd like a mix. I don't like to be pegged.
Yeah. I mean, you make a new one and just go watch a bunch of weird shit.
I don't want to have to do that. I don't want to have to do that.
Yeah,
Okay,
I mean, you could.
but anyways,
Yeah.
it is obviously what you. She's just like, you know, they had a inkling that I'd be gay, and she's like, they kept sending me more, and you're like, what you're not mentioning is that you kept watching it. So it's like if they send you 5 different like if you're watching all your Trump is bad docs or whatever shit, and then they send you like a bunch of LGBTQ stuff, and then you don't watch it, probably doesn't keep coming at you.
Yeah, for sure. Like when they show me that shit, I break my fucking TV, and I'll tell you what, they don't show me that goddamn shit again. So who doesn't think I'm gay? Fucking Netflix.
Are you still there?
No! No! Just fucking chuck the remote.
That's what happens to me when I hit gay shit
Think
too.
I'm gay? You're fucking gay.
You go, yeah, you call up Netflix customer service. The fuck is this shit? What are you trying to say, pal?
Yo, you want to fucking pull up?
What, after I watched Last Chance U and then Equalizer 1 and 2, what in fucking God's green earth made you think that I want to watch a fucking video about the Roman bathhouse? You come here.
And
come here.
then the person on the line's like, it's about the construction of the Roman bathhouse. You go, good answer.
Good answer. I'll tell you what, pal. You get a VHS of that, and you come give that to my face. You come recommend that to my face. I'm going to be at this bar tonight. You show up and look me in the eyes and tell me you think that I should watch this documentary on fucking Andy Dick's Men. There were TV series that my friends, people of a similar age, similar background, and similar streaming histories, were not being recommended, and I'd never heard of. Well, that's probably untrue.
Yeah, that's not true.
If
How do
any-
you know all your friends fucking?
Well, you're
Netflix?
obviously watching different stuff.
Yeah, but also you don't know what your friends' Netflix recommendations look like.
You don't know what they're
Like,
actually
you don't-
watching. This is the problem. It sounds like you're probably single. It's like, so you're only watching girl shit. Like other ones, a lot of times, it's like they're watching shit that's unisex. You know what I mean?
What was that?
Unisex. It's meant for him and her. Oh, that's not the word? We got fucking Russel Brand over here.
It's unisex.
Oh, look at this bloke over here thinks unisex a word. The tremogrification. Our show that stuck out was called You, Me, and Her, but a suburban married couple who welcome a third person in the relationship. Like, that's a perfect example of, like, shit. You sent me a shit about a couple that adds another girl, and you go, I'd be giving them the treatment you just said, where I'd be...
Yeah, like if you just watch like every season of Sex and the City, you'll get more like dumb horror content and not more like bisexual stuff. So it's like, it's just what you're watching.
When I watched Equalizer 9 times in a row...
Yeah, exactly. Really like straighten out the old algo. Just keep watching Equalizer.
I actually only do get shit like that.
Yeah.
Dude, everything that I get is like just a guy standing with a gun. My entire algorithm is one dude standing with a gun.
Well, why waste time? You know? Well, why waste time making you search? And
Which is funny because you forget that it's an algorithm sometimes, and I'll just be like, why is fucking Netflix trying to make me watch 16 Liam Neeson movies?
Yeah.
It's like, because you watch the other 14.
because you're gonna watch them, Ryan. Because you can fucking fight as you may, you will be watching these at some point.
I do watch him too. He's the best, dude. It's just like everyone is it's just his photo of his face doing nothing.
Same movie.
All right, after a couple of months of TikTok, I started to see videos on my feed from random bisexual creators. So I was just getting hit at all angles. And by the way, I will say that for these girls who are impressionable, they are getting hit at all angles with the LGBTQ stuff.
Of course.
If you're an impressionable person, you are getting fucking jammed it down your throat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why.
They're getting
I do my
sniz.
part and burn a rainbow flag once a day in the middle of the street. Just,
yeah, to let them know.
and then I film it and put it on TikTok.
A few months later, I came to the separate realization that I'm myself bisexual. That was my favorite line in the thing. She goes, so I was on Netflix. It kept sending me gay shit. Then I was on TikTok. It kept sending me gay shit. And a month later, I came to the completely separate realization.
Yeah. That's why this whole thing, because forever until very recently, the discourse was like gay people were born that way. Mm-hmm. And then they were always like, I always knew and I had to pretend that I wasn't gay.
Yeah, now it's not.
Now you're like, I had no idea.
Yeah, it crept up on you.
And then I just was watching TikTok and figured it out. You're like, what? That's like opposite of what they were saying forever.
You're so right. It's like you ever see the thing where they take off I'm surprised they haven't made that movie about two lesbians, but they basically take off the girl's
I've
glass.
seen movies about two lesbians. I've seen a few of them, actually. I think they made that movie, Ryan. A lot of times.
That film exists.
No, I'd go to this as far as saying it's overdone.
They take
That genre.
They take the girl's glasses off and they realize she's hot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's all that.
She's all
there
that.
she goes again. Damn, pretty baby. Whatever.
Yeah.
Right? But like a girl, like a dude that doesn't know he's gay, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's looking at a guy and he's just kind of having that sort of thing, and he puts a baseball cap on him and he's just like, I'm gay.
He puts a sailor hat on. He goes,
Yeah.
I think I'm gay.
Well, it's that sort of thing. You're looking at a girl and they've always been like, they're having the She's All That movie with like just girls in general.
Yeah. I don't. Again, I'm very confused about all this.
Is that girl hot? And you're like, what the fuck do I?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm gay.
Like even like JJ. Like JJ knew he was our friend JJ. Like he knew he was gay. He just hid it. He pushed
Because you're
it deep
depraved.
down.
I mean, it's the gay one's easier to explain because you're just like, you're looking at a guy and you're like, I'd like to fuck him.
Yeah.
You go, that's the litmus test.
Exactly.
You're like, that would be sweet to fuck him. And then it's not like, I don't think it would ever be a guy being like, would you want to bone that guy? Well, bone a guy. Well,
Yeah, you're like,
ugh. I never even thought of that. That's what never even crossed my mind. I guess now that it's a food that you haven't tried. You know what I
course.
mean?
Yeah.
Like, hey, have you tried putting Nutella on toast? And you're like, Nutella, or something that Nutella on a donut, and you're like, that doesn't sound
oysters.
Whoa!
Yeah, you're like oysters Rockefeller. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's equivalent of like a pizza topping you haven't tried. You should put toasted tomato on pizza. You're like, I don't know, that doesn't sound. Oh, I guess I never really.
I will suck a dick.
Yeah, they're trying to make it seem like that.
Well, they
now.
are making it seem like that, but the whole fight over it was they're like, you can't discriminate against us because we're born this way.
Yeah.
Like that was the whole like crux of the whole LGBT like equal rights movement was that we're not choosing this. We are this way.
All of them, they need that. Even the fat one, it has to be like I was born this way.
Yeah, and now everything's just like, yeah. And then they're like, yeah, I don't know, I guess I'm...
The algo got me.
Yeah, the algo got me. Exactly. Yeah, you're like, fucking the Netflix algorithm got me.
Yeah, it's like you could have gone one way or the other. They like legitimately, it was either she got sent like an early Stefan Molyneux video, and then it was a gay one, and she like it's a choose your own adventure that like leads to who you're gonna be as a person when you're impressionable.
Yeah.
No one is explicitly telling Netflix you're gay, says the Greg Serpio Garcia, PhD student at the University of Cambridge, specializing in computational social psychology. But the platform can let users know that you've liked queer content. That is I mean, this is the thing. Any girl could probably be convinced to say she's bisexual, and that's who's liking it. Like, there's probably not a lot of even progressive dudes. I doubt unless you're really like trying to make a show of it. I doubt you're like low-key on your own, just like liking fucking queer content.
What are you liking? You have to watch it on Netflix, though. It's like you have to go watch like a gay thing, which I'm sure.
I guess some of the things you used to give it a rating.
Yeah, there's no ratings anymore. Like, I guess there are guys who are like probably super like hipstery, like liberal guys who are.
I mean, those guys are making a show of it, though.
Yeah, and they're probably not gay, but they probably have like conversations about these like things with their like groups, and so they're like they have to be up to date, so they kind of have to know.
They have to be in the know if there's a new term coming out.
I mean, like, dude, if you fucking go like Clockwork Orange and tape my eyes open, make me watch gay porn, I'm not gonna be gay.
Hey, stop asking.
I tried it. I tried it.
I'm not gonna be gay, Rabbi Brownstein. I don't care how many times. You, my dad, or my uncle want to do this experiment.
There is no amount of gay porn that I can watch that'll make me gay. I've tried it, okay?
It doesn't make a dent. I love pussy, pussy, pussy.
You ever watch the update with that guy? What happened with that?
What
whole
happened
thing?
with him?
I randomly,
Is he like a queen now?
so he's totally gay.
Oh, he's gay again?
Super gay. And
That's
oh no, actually no, I think he
funny.
says he's not gay, but he's clearly like so gay,
Flamboyant.
effeminately gay. And so he had no idea that was being broadcast. He like went to that church.
He didn't
thing.
want it to become a meme like that.
He had no idea.
Kinda
He
feel bad for
He
him,
thought that it was just going to be like a church that day, and I can't remember why he went, but he's like, I'm going to church, and then he was just like depressed or something. He didn't know that was getting live streamed on the internet.
Ooh. Oof. Dude, his boyfriend's watching at home. What the
That's a
fuck?
fucked up way to find out you're not gay anymore, Tyrone.
But there was just one last thing that I wanted to bring up. Oh, it wasn't. There was two more. A user does not have to be previously streamed LGBTQ. I mean, it's pretty obvious to know the type of person they would be into this shit, right? But it goes, the reason why that like people are covering this article and BBC, because there's like a social point to all this. It's not just that she's gay. She goes, the reason why the fact that Netflix knew she was gay might be problematic, because in some countries where homosexuality is illegal, it could be potentially putting people in danger, speaking to LGBTQ people around the world. But I was just thinking, so they're saying like if you're in Iran or something like that,
And
but
then
like,
your like dad logs into your like the family
or the
Netflix,
government,
or the government.
but
yeah.
like, which maybe is there's some truth to that, but like, what a funny way to get like busted being gay. Like they like bust into your house being like, what the fuck's this you watching? You know what I
Let
mean?
me see your Netflix. Go.
Girls soccer.
But again, aren't those things that are like
I just
you get in
like
trouble
it. I
for?
think
Aren't they banned in those countries anyways?
Yeah, that's a good point. But there's like, maybe they see that they like rewound on like a dick scene in like a movie that's actually a straight movie.
I mean, probably like the
Like they watching those, Judd Apatow movies where every second fucking
there's
scene's a dick.
Yeah, and then they just keep their
And they could see that that's been watched a lot of times.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I mean, eventually, I wonder if their algorithm will like get to the point, the recommendation where it'll just like track your eye, so it'll just like really know what your eye's looking at.
I hope not.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. I imagine that technology must already exist anyways.
They track Danny's eyes. He's looking at the guy's fucking wallet.
My eyes.
Were you looking at the guy? Hey, we saw this point. You were looking at the guy's ass. Common misconception.
Common misconception.
I like that phrase when they say people are pocket watching. Pocket watching is good, eh? Yeah. Yo, why are you pocket watching me, man? This guy's fucking pocket watching. I've been liking that one. You sent me this, but it's a kind of interesting thing. But women are less likely to get CPR.
Yeah.
And they're not sure why.
No.
But the obvious. So they're saying that like men and everyone's like less likely to go do CPR if a girl's dying, which is
weird because you think
problematic.
probably who do you think knows CPR more, men or women? Seems like a kind of like a nurturing, nursely thing. Maybe men take more first aid training classes.
I don't know. I would say probably somewhat even.
Do you know CPR?
I've had to learn it, but I don't know it.
Yeah.
Legitimately,
I sometimes wonder,
dude, I've done so much of that stuff because I was a referee and you have to do all that shit.
Yeah,
dude, if someone actually died and I had to utilize any of it, I would have been screwed.
Yeah,
dude.
it's crazy too because like you see people and they're like, yeah, I just like watched a guy die because nobody knew how to do any of this stuff. You know, it sucks. I guess I guess I was just kind of wing it, but
well, no one. That sort of happened at the hockey game when the guy died.
yeah, nobody knew how to do CPR.
No one really didn't want to touch it because we're not gay.
That's the problem.
And they go, someone give him mouth to mouth, and then we sort of argued about it until the ambulance
I'm a
came.
married man. I don't know. Wouldn't appreciate that. Plus,
No, I don't.
plus
Yeah, no one
he's
knew what to
pretty
do.
straight. I don't think he'd like that.
Yeah.
We'll just wait for a female ambulance driver to show up and.
Would you be
Let God
Would you be
sort it
pissed
out.
off if you like were like choking and you like passed out and then you woke up to a guy giving you mouth to mouth?
No, I'd do like the Sandlot style and slip him the tongue.
Okay. So this is this is in relation to a sketch that we have planned.
Yeah.
But this therapist said men that don't help at home is a symptom of bigger problems with the men themselves. And basically, she's saying men don't have they lack emotional intelligence, which is why this is the big reason that
We're
men
big dummies.
yeah, that's
We're
what
just stupid.
there you go. Emotional intelligence, the ability to recognize, understand, manage, and use one's own emotions. And I see all these TikToks with people being like, you can't expect your partner to be intimate with you if you leave clothes on the floor. But putting clothes in the hamper and running errands, putting the dishes away, that doesn't make me want to be intimate either. So it's a girl that has like, she's blaming it on emotional intelligence, but really, if you want to boil this whole thing down, and this kind of, you know what, I'm going to tie this into this other article where they said millennial people, a big percentage of millennials say that the Joe Rogan podcast is a red flag. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, who are you and what do you do? Because when they say that, when they're kind of saying it's like the men aren't, doing enough housework, it's like, well, if your argument is our relationship is uneven, then your arguments our relationship's uneven.
Yeah.
If it's not, then it's not.
Yeah.
If your argument is like he works, he makes more money, and if you're like we make the same amount of money, I do all the kids shit and I do everything around the house. It was just like this ain't emotional intelligence. Like you just got an uneven deal.
Yeah, you got. Yeah, he's just like kind of.
You got a deadbeat, pal.
Yeah.
But the problem is with these women, the things that they say. Like the amount of in the last little while, how many times have you seen like the red flag shit, and it's just shit that every guy does?
I mean, sometimes for sure. Yeah, where you're just like, yeah, I don't know what you're expecting here.
Well, that's why it's like it's all kind of bullshit, right? Because when they go, Joe Rogan's a red flag or whatever. That's like the equivalent, like saying UFC's a red flag or watching football.
Yeah,
just shit everyone does,
yeah.
right? Not being, there's two. One is like, just any guy that isn't like crazy liberal, which is, a minority of men right now.
Yeah.
They're like the minority. What percentage of like men can you just be like, are you about all this fucking new shit? Conservative or liberal?
It depends where. Like even in New York City, it's still not the majority for sure.
Fuck no, dude.
Yeah.
And then that's the equivalent of being like, and then they go watch shit like they're watching like, Call Her Daddy How to Be a Slut podcast.
Yeah.
And then they're kind of, well, I'm just saying, and then they go, we don't want you to listen to Joe Rogan. You go, I think a lot of people would argue it's worth. So I think there's a thing where it's like, a lot of girls are sort of, I think there's a lot of people who've sort of brought this up, but they sort of have a unequal idea of like what their worth is and what's normal.
I mean, but again, it's like you're allowed to have any preference you want. Like I don't think that's an issue. Like the market is going to clear itself out. Like if you want to be like, hey, I don't date guys who listen to Joe Rogan, and you interrogate every guy you want to date with, either you're going to find the guy and who doesn't listen to Joe Rogan, and he's probably going to be pumped that
The guy that lies about it.
Oh, either he lies about it or he thinks similar to you, who thinks Joe Rogan's toxic and he hates him, which those guys exist. And then congrats. Or you're going to be like, oh man, the guys who I have available to me who don't listen to the Joe Rogan podcast or things are all my red flags, are like not really good options. And then you're going to start kind of like conceding certain points, or you're going to die alone.
They're so also full of shit though, because it's just like,
look, like I don't like for example, I don't. What's one of my red flags is if a girl who I'm seeing is annoying. I still have an annoying girl though.
It's never stopped you.
It's like, yeah.
Well, that's why I mean.
That's if you fucking, if I get a phone call, go, hi, we're running a poll with Axios, and can you just answer these questions? I'd be like, yeah, it's a big red flag for me if she's fucking annoying.
That's what I mean. Well, I mean, okay, listen, we've been like, I would say my entire life, and even more so in the last like 10 years or so, been saying like pretty wild shit. You know what I mean? All of which these type of girls would all say is like a red flag. Mm-hmm. I don't think once had any girl, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think I've a single time in my life really had, I've had girls argue with me.
Sure.
But I've never had them stop talking to me.
No, for sure. And like maybe
So it's like all this shit is just like a lie.
Yeah, and maybe on like in the context of a swiping on a dating app where there's like actual no communication.
If you're in the thing with like, alpha brain and like if you're like into it, you might be like, that's a lie.
You're like just like holding an elk and like just a bow and all that. But yeah,
you wouldn't probably want that in New York.
And like some girls girls, might swipe left on you because that's such a like low friction, easy thing to do. But
They have no clue what they want, man. Because they're talking about that, and I mean, people have all pointed this out, but like, unless you're really like that top tier, like activist, like really all in, 90% of women that like say any of this shit, it's like none of them do any of it when it comes to dating.
yeah, you know, what'd be a good prank actually that I just thought of. Then you say that is, you know, those people who glue themselves to the sidewalk and shit in the road, and then they glue themselves, and then you bring a stereo and you play the Joe Rogan podcast. But they can't go anywhere because they just glued themselves to the road. They go, oh, I hate Joe Rogan. You go, probably shouldn't have glued yourself to the street.
The climate activists?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
They're fucking glued. It's too bad. Strong glue, huh?
People glue themselves to the painting,
Yeah.
and then you come in and you bring like a fucking
Yeah, and then you just whatever.
Kanye West speech, just like on fucking loop. you give him Trump's inaugural address.
Yeah. Just play. Go. Ugh, sorry.
You just put Glenn Beck radio on.
The Blaze.
Dude, that's so fucking funny.
Tucker Carlson, just every one of his Twitter videos.
Holy shit, that's a really funny prank, dude.
Yeah.
They'd be fucking.
Would not
They'd
be
probably go,
fuck the climate.
just
I
ripping
don't like the climate anymore.
that might be one of your best ideas.
There we go.
But yeah, it always is like so funny when they're just normal shit that like your average dude does, and they're just like against it. Just like your average, most people, it's kind of like, oh, I want a really smart guy. Everyone just ends up with the dumb guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
Our crew, I was actually thinking it kind of is funny the extent to which like our whole crew is kind of dumb, and not like necessarily low IQ, but like you're loopy and dumb as much as you don't want to admit it.
Yeah, I was definitely.
Me and Johnny the other day we're going to film in we both live in the East Village. We're going to film at Times Square. We take the train an hour and a half in the wrong direction.
What do you mean an hour and a half?
Not an hour and a half, but before we realized that we're in
Like
the
you were in
fucking
Brooklyn?
sticks. Yeah, dude.
Went to Queens or something.
Went to
You
Queens.
went to Queens.
2 stops.
We're just like, is there anyone in our crew that isn't stupid?
Oh yeah, because if you take that,
The three of
I
us
know what you're
could
talking about,
easily be walking the wrong direction without anyone noticing for a while.
Yeah, it happens.
So they're saying that's a big problem, red flag. Well, then the girls are doing stuff like, can the Harry Potter fandom carry on while ignoring J.K. Rowling? You know what? That's my red flag.
Yeah, you know what? I'd like to just point out one major red flag about this poll is if you just pick up the phone from an unknown number from a place that's doing a poll.
Yeah,
And you answer it and then take the poll.
Well, they're not all phone polls. You don't know that.
Yeah, they are. They just call you.
What the hell?
So it's like you see unknown number, pick it up. Someone goes, hey, do you have a minute for us to do a poll? Think of those people who are going through with the poll. Major red flag right there.
It is funny, though. There is a bit of the opposite where they go, turnoffs for men or girls that have no hobbies, say Black Lives Matter,
Communism.
are interested in
Communism
astrology.
was like the biggest one.
Communism was the biggest one. When it comes to Gen Z, the biggest is red flag is identifying as a communist.
Yeah. But
So
not having
but it's
hobbies
literally
was
just
the,
like
was
girl-
the most comparable one for both.
But it's just so funny that girls are just like, our things are we don't want someone that's like not liberal, and the guys are just like, we don't want a chick that's all
I don't want
liberal.
some lazy freeloading piece of shit.
But it's like, okay, but everyone does end up together, so it's like everyone's lying.
Yeah.
I guess liberals are, girls are more liberal and dudes are more conservative, I guess.
That's just a fact.
It's just a straight
That's
up
just
fact.
based on temperament. That's just true.
It's all, what's funny about being like an actual communist is just like, if you're living in America, like, what does it even mean? You're a communist. It's like, all it means is you like say stuff. It doesn't actually mean you do anything. You just like say that you are.
Yeah, you say you are.
Like, it's really just
that's
stuff
similar
you're
to the
saying, 'cause you're not,
that's
like,
similar
what
to
are you
the
doing?
communists in like the in the 50s and stuff. I guess they're just. I mean, I guess the goal is to overturn the guy. You're going to get a candidate in. Like, you're like the Green Party. You're like, eventually we'll get like a municipal candidate, and then eventually like you'll be able to vote
Yeah.
the president for a communist.
I'll say the reason why I think a lot of
I don't
guys
get it though. Sorry to cut you up, but like, if that happens and it works out its way, isn't the time that you elect the communist like leader? Isn't that the end of elections?
Yeah, I guess so.
Like you'd be like, all right, I guess that's the last one then.
Yeah, I think they say, "Oh, we're sort of commie, but we're still gonna have elections," and then they go, "Just kidding."
Well, yeah, I go, you fools,
You fell for that,
you idiots.
But I would say the most annoying part about like dating a girl that's like super commie is that they pride themselves in like caring about everyone else other than you.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean?
I've never dated a communist. I don't
But you've never dated a girl that like has that sort of just like, it's like very like, okay, it's the equivalent of like, if there's a bunch of friends in the group or family members, right? It's like their cousin that's like a heroin addict. She like that guy has to be so much attention. It's always like it's always.
I've never really dated.
It's just like all of their attention is always on like the friend that has all this mess. So you know what I mean? Like, oh, they have a friend that their life's falling apart, and it was like instead of being like, you know, maybe it's time like you grow up and like don't surround yourself with messes. It's like they like being around. Like,
but that's
other
like some women are just like attracted to drama in general. Too.
Yeah,
They
but
don't have to be-
but I'm saying is so I agree, but I'm saying it's like those commie types are like that generally.
Yeah, I've never.
I think so.
I've
don't know.
never dated anybody who like was.
I guess you could think maybe there's the Russian ones that are like me, a school communist. I do not want drama, but like the American.
Yeah, but the moment that they get out of Russia, like the moment that they're here, they're all just like communism's the worst.
That's what I'm saying. The American ones, it's like they like to be around drama because they see themselves as like someone that can help.
Yeah,
but it's like
they're also idiots. And I've dated some stupid chicks, but god damn, you got to be stupid to be a communist. In
like
America.
a full out, yeah.
To be like an actual thing, and like being like it's never been done properly, but if we do it like this,
we're
time,
gonna fucking nail it this time.
We're gonna nail it this time. Like,
well, it's funny because this girl, you know, there's all these articles we've even seen before where girls are like, I looked through my boyfriend's phone and he hates me. That's one here. And girls will be like, oh, I've secretly found out that my boyfriend doesn't like me. And it was just like, yeah, because like of all this stuff, you know what I mean? You're like reading, you're like, hey, stay away from a guy that listens to the most popular podcast in the world. And then it was just like, yeah, my boyfriend's sick of my shit. But this girl wrote, she goes, while snooping through her beau's phone while he was asleep, she told the Daily Mail degrading texts. He spent hours making fun of her, degrading and embarrassing her. That would be a bad thing to get busted on, fucking trash talking your chick.
yeah, you ain't talking your way.
I don't go hard like this guy, but he goes, he called my intimate parts weird. He said he hated the things I make him do in bed. That's not crazy to be like, oh, the fucking girl's going to try to make me fucking eat her out.
Ugh, I got a finger for a minute.
Danny's fucking you just fingering her looking in the other way. One finger or two. He goes, it would be hot, but not when Lily does it. It's hot for a minute, then this bitch opens her mouth. So this guy's hyped. Seems like a little much like he's trying to impress her, probably. Impress the buddies.
Oh, impress the buddies, yeah. But you would have to think most groups of like guys would be like, yo, like this is kind of a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, if we had a buddy in one of our group chats that was just like, my fucking stupid bitch
my fucking dumb whore wife, what a stupid bitch, I hate her guts. You go like,
she's giving me head and I liked it until she opened her fucking mouth. And it's like, oh.
What? Yeah, you're like, this is
take it easy, pal.
chill, dude.
Okay, so whatever, we'll move past that. On the topic of commies, though, there's so basically landlords. They have there was like, you can't evict anyone for a long time, right?
Moratorium.
They got rid of the landlord evictions.
Mm-hmm.
And these landlords threw a party that you could celebrate, that they celebrated you can evict people again, which is like, obviously people are not happy, but
no.
Dude, landlord shit makes me laugh so much. Is the idea of like, I wanted to go around raising money for landlords.
Yeah,
and shit like
they're
that.
trying to be like, we're a protected class.
If you do think about it, they are the most hated group. Like, there's no group that's hated more.
Why do you think fucking Jews and Asians are hated on so much in New York City?
Oh, is that a big part of it?
Yeah, because they're everybody's landlords.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
They landlords get people are not happy with landlords.
No.
That's funny, just being like asking people like, hey, we're just doing this landlord appreciation month, like wondering if you'd want to like give your landlord like a freebie, like an extra month, just because to tell them you care about them and shit like that. But they said they don't want to be called landlords because it's a bigoted name from back in the day when they actually used to like make people
like lords of
work
the
on
land,
the but they go, we're not actually landlords,
like feudal.
They said we're housing providers.
Yeah, I like. Yeah, then they go. They consider it slander. Landlords is like literally they say that they go. We don't like that. It's slander.
So you can see why people are not happy with this.
No, I mean to throw a party that's like. With,
I hope it's supposed to be a little funny.
I don't think it is. I think there are a lot of them are like shit. You know, we've been having these like. Nobody's been paying us rent for 3 years and probably lost a bunch of money. And
Yeah,
so they're
that's
like,
not
now
great,
now they're like, let's pop some dom and eat some fingers.
It's also funny, like your landlord being like Vanguard too.
Yeah.
Like and you're just like, you know, sometimes just my pipe was broken, but I thought, you know what, Vanguard's had a rough month. I'm just gonna, this one's gonna be on me.
Look at this stock price. They're not doing so great. So
You know what? I'm just
I'll fix this.
Hey, Vanguard, this one's on me. And there was a new term alert that someone sent that we have to cover. How to tell if someone's sad fishing you on social media.
Oh, interesting.
New term. And essentially, it's when you post on social media in order to get attention.
We know one guy who's like, this is his.
I know.
All I have to say, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yep.
But it's the funny part was they have, you know, academics and, you know, I can't remember what it was, like experts of sorts that are doing this study, and they've come to the conclusion that sometimes people do it to get attention.
Yeah, you're like, that's all it is. People just want attention.
If you're on social media, you undoubtedly know some people who chronically share overly earnest, emotional posts on their story or timeline. We know a guy that he'll post maybe every 4 days that like, well, tomorrow's the day I kill myself.
Like I'll literally just post like a video on Facebook being like, fuck! And then just like, that's it.
And you basically see like, you know, it starts out with like, you know, kind of 40 likes, everyone's saying, no, you're the best, dude, never. And then, you know, the next one's 39 likes, maybe a couple different comments. By, you know, 5 years later, it's like a couple chicks being like, you are loved.
Yeah, we're really worried about you.
And then there's one black comic that is a buddy of ours that posted. He was like, "Hey, dude, you got to stop doing this." Blah blah blah.
No, he's like, fucking just kill yourself already.
He didn't say that,
Didn't he?
No.
I thought he was like, do it.
Shit or get off the pot.
I honestly thought he did. I thought he was like, shit or get off the pot.
Well, the thing is, it's like a lot of times the people that are sad fishers are like assholes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a lot of times the people that are just posting nonstop, you know, to get attention, you're like, you would be the first person to not help, to like screw anyone over. Like a lot of times it's dicks, you know?
Yeah, it's just...
If you're on social media, you know someone. So they go, researchers define sad fishing as a tendency on social media for users to publish exaggerations of their emotional states to generate sympathy. I just love the scientific analysis of it. Some might say. I mean, you know what? Girls might use this to post a long message after someone died that they barely knew. That's the most. That's the most one people do it in. If someone dies, you go, dude. I've had people. I remember a girl that I'd been dating for maybe off and on, you know, almost 3 years, probably somewhat serious for a year and a half. A guy died. This girl was going on fucking a rampage for like a week with posts and everything. And I was just like, I mean, I've been dating you for 3 years, never heard about this guy. So never once
brought up,
not his name mentioned,
nothing.
Not crossed in your
classic.
And it's like, yo, you don't know, before we were like it's always like a brother. This guy had a fucking lot of sisters. When the guys who kill themselves happen to have a lot of sisters.
Yeah, I know. I mean, they ever say that it's always so funny too. Like whenever anybody dies, and like it's just everybody always like says the same things about them.
Yeah, you're the complete opposite.
Yeah, I go, fucking guy owed me $50. Fucking deadbeat.
That's the ultimate joke. Yeah. Danny can have his family die, and you go, what happened? He goes, not much.
Bills won. Family also died.
Perhaps those with anxious attachment and correlated negative interpersonal experience are more likely to engage in maladaptive online behavior, blah, blah, blah. But it is a very high level adjudication of chicks liking attention.
Yeah, they do.
And let's just mention the thing that, so Trump did this big interview, right? Mm-hmm. And it's kind of it shows like the I guess conservatives in general have become more like unified around like what their things are. Do you know what I mean? Whereas like what Trump kind of just said the same shit he probably has been always saying, but it was too left wing for him now.
Well, he did try and be like getting rid of. You're talking about the abortion stuff.
Abortion and
well,
gender.
he was saying like the Roe v. Wade stuff. Like he was trying to, he did like say he wanted to abolish Roe v. Wade, which happened and got moved to the states' rights. And then he was basically saying like, 6 weeks in Florida is too little.
Yeah.
And then obviously, everybody's version of him is different. Like essentially, like, some people are like, they want him to be the
most conservative
ever guy. And you're like, look, he's not. Like, this guy's banging porn stars. Like, you think he's like fucking super, super conservative.
No, but don't you think it's a
like
little
fiscally
little
conservative.
true what I'm saying, that like that the conservatives have like moved to the right on those issues?
Yeah,
just
for sure.
because I think they all
they moved back.
They all just flanked. Yeah, they moved back, but they all were like flanking each other back to be like, I'm actually more against abortion than you. You think you're against abortion? I'm really fucking against abortion. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And that's kind of how the politics sort of goes sometimes. And I think that he's probably just like, I'll tell you what, I do just like, whether I agree with someone or don't agree with someone, I always like someone that like everyone changes and they just fucking hold on their opinion.
Yeah.
Like something, especially if it's an opinion that's like is an opinion, it's not a fact,
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Like DeSantis does more. Like probably a guy like DeSantis, it's more like do the polls. What are my people like? I'll say
do
that.
more of that. Yeah, very like data based. Like
yeah. So I think that's what probably a lot of politicians are. It's like, okay, how much do people like this? Let's say that. Whereas I sort of like that.
Yeah,
some
Trump,
people
the
just
stuff
be like, well,
with
this
like
is what I
the
would
woman,
think.
like he's like, can a man become a woman? And he's like, well. I mean, some people didn't like that, but
No, they want him to be like, no.
yeah, they wanted to be like, what? Are you crazy?
What do you think?
What do I think?
Yeah.
I mean, define woman, I guess. What is a woman, right? I mean, it is funny that Caitlyn Jenner is constantly like someone will post some. Did you see like there's like some meme of Caitlyn? I think you maybe like the bathrooms, and it was like Bruce Jenner for the men and Caitlyn Jenner, and then someone was like mad about it, and then Caitlyn Jenner was like, "This is hilarious."
Yeah,
but like everybody always wants to be mad about it, and then like,
people always
she's, like, super
get mad the
biased.
other way if you like call someone. If someone someone transes to a girl, and you say she, there are people now that are like, "Why are you being a bitch saying she?"
Yeah, for sure. And like, look, I've been very consistent, I think, on this whole thing, which has always been like, look, they're not actually like, if you're trans woman, you're a trans woman. You're not a woman. You're a trans woman. Like, I'll just to be respectful, like I'll say that, like I
feel like I always just say whatever one you look like. If I'm looking,
I agree.
Like sometimes you see the like girl to guy, and it was just still looks like a chick, and you're like, well, I have trouble saying guy but if you have a beard and stuff, I was like, okay, then it looks like a guy to me.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like you got to put some effort into it.
It's like whatever one you look like.
Yeah, I agree, but for sure. But like if like a butch lesbian, like I'll still call you a chick. I'm not calling you a dude because you're like, I'm a butch lesbian. Like if you look like Justin Bieber.
Well, if you have a beard though.
No, butch lesbian looks like Justin Bieber. I'm like, you're a chick, even though you probably do.
Yeah, but I would go the other way. Like sometimes you'd be like, you'd see the other one where it's like a dude and he goes, okay, I'm gonna dress like a girl, I'm gonna fucking wear fake boobs, and he just goes, I'm just a gay guy or whatever, and he goes, no, I'm he him, and you're like, sure you are,
right?
Like, you know what I mean? I would go, if you're wearing a dress and you got all this stuff, I mean, you dress it look exactly like a girl, and you're like, I still identify as a man.
To be perfectly honest, like when it is in these weird gray areas, you're just like, I'm not using your pronouns.
I'm not saying nothing.
I'm not just saying nothing.
Yeah,
you ain't gonna hear fucking peep about pronouns.
Well, though, if you're on the in between and on purpose, it's like you're looking for trouble.
Well, that's the thing. Like the in between on purpose, like Caitlyn Jenner, I'll be like, that's a whatever. I'll say she, but for the most part, I'm just like, I'm saying Caitlyn Jenner. We're not pronouns at all. I'm just going to use your fucking God-given.
Don't you sort of have the same thing where you have like a brain thing where it's like your brain needs to sort of put him in one of the two?
Yeah.
So like sort of just like your brain sort of like naturally picks if it looks like a chick.
But I'm saying if it's someone you like personally know and you go like, this is going to be like a point of contention among my like peer group,
where they're the in-betweens.
Yeah, and you're just like, I don't want to be like a dick.
Do you know a ton of in-betweens?
No,
I don't really know a ton of in-betweens. I know I know
we do know
ones on the Switch.
We do know some in comedy. There are a bunch of comedy. And the problem with the
in-betweens are usually just chicks though. They're girls.
Yeah, they're
me.
always chicks.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That in-betweens don't. To me, I just see girls still usually.
Yeah, but then I mean,
the in-betweens usually just look like a lesbian.
Yeah, even with the mastectomies, they still just look like lesbians.
Kind of, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the guy in betweens usually just look like guys still. The girl in betweens kind of look like girls still.
Yeah,
if you're being honest,
that is true. Yeah.
So it's like,
but again, I'm just like, I'm generally.
if you grow a beard, I'm seeing a dude. Like,
yeah, for sure.
what's that Buck Angel guy? I'm not like, I see that looks like a dude.
Yeah, that looks like a dude for sure.
If you put
So,
that's it.
yeah.
It's like, you know what I mean? I go, I'm not. It's not about what I'm choosing to. It's like my brain's gonna interpret one.
But if Buck Angel goes, hey, I'm she now, I'm like, just not using pronouns. I'm not.
when you're sucking,
And also, I don't respect people's pronouns when they're not around. Right, like that's a different thing too.
I don't know. I mean, to me, if they look like it, I'll say it. I don't know. It just depends on what you look like.
But like I'm saying, for the in-betweeners, like, you know.
Well, in-betweeners usually just get the original, whatever you normally are before.
Like Blair White, like I would always say she in any context.
It looks like a girl.
Exactly.
I can't really picture as a girl. If you can still see that, I don't really see. You can't really see what she would look like as a guy.
No.
But like if you're in between and you look like in between, then I probably aren't calling you the thing. But
But we're probably not hanging out either. So.
well, I do do that. I still say she, and I've probably gotten flack for it. But I don't know. So I just thought that's my technique.
Tide's turning on all this.
It's the same, but I'll say the same thing about this. Listen, I'll say a guy's bald if he fucking starts wearing a toupee. I'm not gonna keep calling him bald. I don't go, technically he's bald, and you go, I guess I've seen a head of hair. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I'd be like, that is a really bad toupee. Huh?
I don't need Matt Walsh out here being like, what is a bald? You go, I don't know. The guy's got a fucking toupee on. It's good enough for me.
He goes, that's a man. That's a bald man with a toupee on. That is not a haired man. It's different.
That's my policy. Is you fucking if you put it to work.
I am actually interested to see when Chappelle's new special comes out. Actually, because he has a whole thing on Leah Thomas.
I bet he does.
Calling Leah Thomas a dude, and it's like weird sometimes because like you think like this stuff is fringe to us.
Leah Thomas does look pretty dudish though, especially 'cause once you get that bathing suit on and you got no makeup, you're in the pool. Like those pool photos like are showing the real.
Yeah,
you
Leah Thomas looks like a dude because.
But if you
that's a man.
That's a man, baby.
But the thing is,
but if Leah Thomas was done up, got the cheekbones shaved down a little bit, had the makeup on, he might be able to
but they don't. But
that's what you get him in the pool, dude. You get the bald guy in the pool, right. You get toupee guy in the pool too.
Toupee guy in the pool too. Not a good look. Alex Pavone, and you said the funniest story about this guy, like his cousin or something. He was bald and then wore like a toupee, and he would always wear a hat. And then he would like, this is so funny. And then he would like be in a pool, and he'd have the hat on. And when he'd go to dunk his head, he'd put the hand on the hat. And he'd go, whoop. Because he had to keep the hat on front. But like Chappelle would like because sometimes I think the Leah Thomas stuff, even though like probably
the pool exposes all, dude.
Everybody who watches this is probably like, yeah, of course we know who Leah Thomas is, but I'm sure like there's a lot of people who don't. But then like once Chappelle's doing it on a special, you're like, this is pretty mainstream here.
Yeah, Leah Thomas probably talked shit about him. That's why.
Maybe I don't know, but like it's just to see that discourse of like will it be like Chappelle's just all of a sudden being like, yeah, Leah Thomas is a dude, and then everybody's gonna be like, snap back, you know, to just normal. We're going, yeah, what the fuck were we talking about? Like, what were we saying as a society? Like I wonder if it'll be like the societal shit where everybody's
slingshot.
Like, yeah, where everybody's like, what? Oh my god.
He's been at the cellar a lot, bumping me, if I'm being honest. Dude, I was thinking that is like one of the funny things about just like comedy, where it's like, you know, when you're first here, like, you know, in these kind of spaces, it's like, oh, big deal, like Chappelle and Chris Rock. And then, you know, after a couple of years, it's just like another guy showing up at your job, and you're going to be there for another 2 hours.
Exactly.
Like literally, it is like the first 3 times, like someone like that comes in, you're like fucking sick, like Dave Chappelle's here. And then like the 4th time he comes in, you're like, Jesus fucking
Yeah, try not to get too hammered for the next 2 hours.
Yeah, I'll be, all right, so I'm going to be home at 3 tonight.
Yeah.
Gonna be a late one tonight. I'll tell you what, this guy is not trans time. Okay, patreon.com/theboyscast. We're gonna try to do some cool episodes when we're at Skankfest. Next week we got Douglas Murray coming on, which is a interesting one, a proper intellectual. And
I'll be gone.
And we have a couple of cool ones that we're trying to get at Skankfest.
Yeah.
Okay, peace.